place to hide. No place to run. No place to run. The mutant age. The mutant age has now begun. X-Men, X-Men, this is a day. This is a day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way. Magneto's hordes are on the way to pillage, burn, and plunder. But there's one team that will not yield. The team that strikes like thunder. X-Men, X-Men, this is the day. This is the day. X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
What? That's not our regular intro. Are you kidding me? What's going on? That's right. I had way too much fun setting up this episode. Welcome back, everybody. After a week off, we are back to another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. And I gotta tell you, everyone, I missed you. As you guys might remember, before I took my little week break last week, and for those who were wondering, for those who were interested, that break was not caused by anything bad. I just had some personal things to take care of. I had to go out of town, yada, yada, yada. Nothing bad, just couldn't make it to last week's show. But if you remember from the episode before last, the subject I wanted to talk about the next time we were live is Krakoa, the entire X-Men line from the last 5 years. It has finally come to an end, and honestly, so what the week before, what was it? Last week before I took my, or the week I took my break rather, I obviously the last issue of the Krakoa era, if you will, came out, the X-Men number 35. And normally we'd probably just have a regular show and we'd, talk about it ending, probably have like 15 minutes where I said, my thoughts on Krakoa, and then we'd move on and probably talk about something else. But over the past few weeks with Krakoa ending, I've seen a lot of discourse on my timeline, and not like, discourse in the sense of like, oh, you're a racist, oh, this is bigoted, blah, 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 nothing like that, but rather just people talking about what was good about Krakoa, what was bad about Krakoa, and it really got me thinking, me, like a lot of readers, my opinion on this entire run started out really low, or let me rephrase that. You know what? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm clearly stumbling over myself. So we will get into Krakoa later. We will be talking about Krakoa later. Obviously, it is an X-themed stream this week, as it has typically been for the last few weeks. But, of course, before we dive into all of that, I want to say hello to all of you guys who are already here, who are already watching. Volume low. Oh, that's right. So, volume low. I don't know if anybody was watching the Wednesday night Bounding into Comics stream here. Because of that volume low, while I explain to you guys, let me boost that up. How's that? Probably a little better. So, on Wednesday night stream over on the Bounding into Comics channel, while we were hosting, my microphone, I noticed it was a little loose, and I have one of the bendy arm, whatchamacallit, like microphone stands. And so I went to tighten it while I think Cider was saying something, and I went to tighten it, and I gave it one turn, and the entire thing just fell apart. So now I have to hold, I have a little tiny desktop stand for my microphone, and it's way lower than I need it to be. So I've ordered a new arm, a new rig, but it just has yet to get here. It'll probably come here tomorrow, knowing Amazon. But yeah, so that's why the audio might be a little lower or sound a little not off, but it's coming from a different position this week, and that is why. As for the arm itself, I wouldn't really no condolences needed is kind of what I'm trying to say, because that arm was a $15 arm that I think I got with this microphone as part of some deal. So I need my entire streaming setup is probably, oh man, 4 years old at this point. So I need a full, I need a new webcam, I need a new microphone, I need new lighting. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in recent weeks, my green screen has given way, so now I need a new one of those. Otherwise, this thing is going to keep oh, it's so easy to fall around. So, and see, even now, I probably shouldn't have moved that, because now I don't know if I can get it back into the right position. But yeah, so that is why my microphone might sound a little odd tonight, but that shouldn't be a big problem. We're still here to hang out. And like I said, let's get into it. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. And that first, that message, obviously, about my microphone came from my boy Dozer. What is going on, Zero? I don't know if you guys have been watching, but Zero finally completed his streaming of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I'm glad you enjoyed. I just want to shout out that game because I know he enjoyed it. But man, to me personally, Kakarot is like a 9.5 game experience. Like, it is, as a Dragon Ball nerd, it is just one of those things where you, while you're playing it, you will just have like a smile on your face. You'll just feel good. Like, it's one of those games where like it feels like it was made by people who cared. It doesn't feel cynical. It respects what it's working with. It even, like, so here was a good point Zero brought up last night. Because the game is an adaptation of the Goku story, a lot of the anime filler is left out, but it's not necessarily left out, it's just made into like side quests. For example, my favorite piece of filler in any piece of media, the driver's license episode of Dragon Ball, it's not a main story mission in Kakarot, but it's a side quest that you can go do, and it's fully there. And it's just like those little details and stuff, those little touches are the things that I really got a kick out of that game with. So yeah, I just wanted to shout out Kakarot, shout out Zero. How is it going, my boys? Aside from that, we have Ravul saying Holly all. Yes, Holly to yourself. Ravul, I know that you meant to say hail. I just think it's really funny to say Holly. I don't know why. That's my own amusement. Nothing wrong. I'm always glad to have you, my wee brethren. We also have Corey saying can't watch tonight, just stopping by to call you gay. Completely fair. It has been about 14 days since I have played Xenoblade Chronicles. I should probably get a counter going, huh? Like right here, just every stream. How long days since Matt has played Xenoblade Chronicles? Because at this point, yeah, it's gonna take me 9 years to complete the game, and it makes me sad, and I just want to play it more. But let's see. Shinkai says, is the MAV signal not on? No, like I said in the chat real quick, I just had to delay the stream by like 15 minutes to get everything set up properly, specifically with the microphone rig and trying to figure out how I was going to work with that. So nothing wrong. We're still here. We're still on. I wouldn't leave you guys hanging if I didn't have to. Are you kidding me? So yeah, no worries there. Zero saying, just discovered Mav is a Blink-182 fan. Yeah, dude. I mean, check this. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. So welcome to the first tank top stream of the season. As you guys might know, I live in the American Southwest. I live in Arizona, and it is officially, we are 7 days away from the start of summer, 8 days technically, if you want to like count, full days of summer, yada, 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 yada. But yeah, 7 to 8 days away from summer. We are in peak heat season, and my friends, it is going to get boiling in my room. It's already pretty damn hot in my room. We regularly hit temperatures of like 104 by 10 o'clock in the morning. So yes, it is finally time to bust out the tank top. And yeah, I should show that off. It is not your ordinary tank top. It's a tank top with all the rider belts up to, I believe, who is that? 01. Hell yeah. That's the one that's the last one that's on there. So, but yeah, I have, in case you guys weren't aware, if you guys haven't seen any tank top streams or summer streams before, I definitely have a bunch of tattoos. Yes, I have a Blink-182 logo tattoo. It is the first one I got when I was 18 because they are the band that got me into seriously playing music and seriously learning how to play different instruments and listen to everything. And so they played a huge influence on me. I got that tattoo. And then, yeah, I've got that one right there, California bear with the Chicago flag in it to represent just where I came from, where my family came from. And then there's a bunch here on my side that I don't really need to get up and expose on YouTube because you don't pay me enough for that. This ain't OnlyFans. I'm not raking in $800 a minute to take off my clothes. And until I do, you ain't getting the goods, my friends. Yeah, dude, 2 months and 39 streams. It is a dense ass game. Like, that's what I love about it too, is if you bought that game for $60, like when it came out, you more than got your money's worth. Like, that is a game that is just so chock full of stuff. Yeah, it's a little grindy, like as you probably experienced, Zero, but what am I trying to say? It's grindy, but it's still if you're like a big Dragon Ball fan, that grind can be very enjoyable while it's happening. I don't know. That's at least my feelings. Again, I am completely admitting that I am biased towards it because you guys know me. I am a giant Dragon Ball fan. Just like it's probably hard for me to give a non-biased opinion on a piece of Final Fantasy VII media or a piece of like, well, no, I can give you some objective ass opinions on Mega Man media, but you guys know what I'm saying. Gotta stay hydrated nowadays too. I don't know if you guys noticed, but now I'm like, I've upgraded my water bottle to like a big bastard instead of my normal bottles because it's gonna get hot in here. Timon is here, my boy, saying, hey, Spencer, I'm pissed off today. My Sandrock went kaputs. Seller didn't send it. Order canceled, and I can't find one under 200 Brazilian bucks. Dude, what did he do that to you for? Like, I absolutely hate when that happens. Like, I do not... or at least, like, if somebody is offering a product on their storefront, and for whatever reason you order it, and they either don't have it or they put it up for the wrong price, right? Like I have found recently some variant comic covers for standard price that are selling for well over standard price, but I've still got them from the websites because that's what they had them listed as. If you get an order in and it like you don't want to fulfill it as is, whether you don't have the stock or you go, oh man, I was way undercharging for that. If you're going to cancel, you should at least give them like a 20% off coupon, a free shipping, something, right? Like, to me, that's just good customer service. And it's insane that we live in a world where something like that isn't more common. But to that end, Timon, my heart, it always goes out to you. You and Dozer down there in Brazil. I know Brazil. I know the horrors of the jungles of Brazil. I know that you are accessing this stream through a dial-up modem going through like a banana peel as an antenna. So my heart goes out to you. That said, we got to set up your get Timon's nephew a Goku figure like campaign. Maybe I'll do like a stream for it and people can donate. But we can put a stretch goal on that, which is get Timon a Sandrock. Because again, we're gonna circumvent those damn shipping fees because all of that stuff is so absolutely stupid. I hate it. I'm gonna put up a new bumper or a new graphic for this show where whenever we talk about Brazil and their bullshit tax, I'm gonna hit something because every time I think about it, there's just no sense to it. There's just no sense to charging like I already forget what it is, like 100% tax, or you said it's going up to like 200% tax on imports over $50. Yeah, get out of my face. Like, just I want a Boston Tea Party. We're gonna Boston Gunpla, the Boston Gunpla party, or I guess it's Brazil, so it would be like I don't know what do you guys have down there? Like a Taco Bell? No, I'm completely kidding. It would be the Brazil Gunpla party. That's what we need to do because it's absolutely insane. We've got Andrew saying, you make me sad. Of course I do. I know, because I'm such a superior human being with superior taste and just everything across the board that when you're presented with my opinions and my taste, you just buckle, knowing that you can't live up to them. No, but for real, good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure to talk to Andrew. Obviously, you guys know that he and I pass each other the shit all the time. So always a pleasure to have you, my brother. Reeve is here with the power of good, the power of Mav, the power of ugly. Yes, that's right. Welcome to another episode. Whoa. See, that's what I'm talking about. I know that I'm going to keep knocking over my microphone on this stupid mini, like, this is what I'm working with here. This tiny, like, there's no support here. And you guys know how I stream. You know how animated I get. So, we're definitely going to be getting a lot of those, like, blunt, like, sounds for this stream. But yeah, Reeve, always a pleasure to see you, mi amigo. Let's see. Yeah, we got Timon, we've got Shinkai, we've got Andrew. Oh, Bolt saying, what's up, my man? What is up? Words of Paradise, Bolt, mi amigo. Always a pleasure to see you. Hey, in case you guys didn't know, this will be I was saving this for, obviously, my end of show bump. But because he's here, I can give you guys a little tease. Monday at, what is it, Bolt? 3 p.m., right? Or 3 p.m. Central Time. So I don't even know. 1 p.m. Pacific time. You guys do the damn math for yourself. Figure out what time zone you're in. At 1 p.m. Central Time, Monday, I will be on Words of Paradise. I will be on his show. It's going to be a blast. I have wanted to... obviously, I've talked to him before in like chats and DMs on Twitter, but I'm super excited to finally like have a good conversation with him. Just talk, shoot the shit, let our feelings fly about every stupid thing that has been happening. If you guys have watched this content, you know how energetic that stream is going to be, so definitely check that out. Monday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Again, do your own damn math. I don't know how those things work. Yeah, there we go. 3 p.m. Central time. I got it. Yes, I'm super, super excited. So go over to his channel, click his name right now if you are here. Go sub, go hit that like button, do all of that fun stuff. Because not only should you come watch me and hang out with me, but his content is genuinely good stuff. And that is an endorsement coming from me, right? You guys know I don't like partisan grifters or people who, jerk you around. And he doesn't. That's good peoples. So, yeah, that is... welcome aboard, everybody. I'm glad to be back. I missed you all. Thanks, man. You didn't have to promote me like that. Oh, I didn't have to, but of course I'm going to. We got to give... again, so it's the ethos of like this show, right, guys? It's there's so much crap out in the world. We got to remember to take the time to highlight and give shout outs to the good things, whether that's content creators, whether that's the rare comic that comes out, the rare movie that comes out. So when I personally see good channels that are worth following, especially in our current ecosystem, yeah, you're gonna get a shout out, my friend. But partisan grifters are the most hard-hearted journos. I know, Andrew. I don't know how we are going to survive. I don't know how Bounding into Comics is going to survive with such hard-hitting competition. I don't know. It's so hard to see what their next move is going to be, all the way up from our rising position in the rankings of like US websites. We're currently like number 110 in all like American access websites. So Bounding into Comics, check it out for your news. So before we get into Krakoa tonight, there are, I don't know if it's a lot of things. I don't really have there are only, what am I going to say? Before we get into, you guys know how format of the show. Why am I so discombobulated for this show? It's not like it's a particularly hard one, or we're at the beginning, or I don't know. Very odd for me today. But as you guys know, before we get into our main topics, usually we shoot the shit on a couple things. So I just wanted to bring up a few odds and ends before we get into Krakoa. There wasn't a lot of big controversy this week. Again, most of the stuff that happened this week was Star Wars related. If you guys have watched the show, or if you are new here, you should know that Star Wars is a banned topic here, right? Because everybody and their mothers talks about Star Wars nowadays. You can go get Star Wars opinions from everybody. Everybody can cover it from every angle. I personally am just tired, exhausted. You don't need to hear another guy talking about how much he hates Disney Star Wars now. So unless it is something like we're talking legends, or it's an anecdote from the past, like I try to avoid talking about Star Wars here. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the Acolyte, on the just dumbest shit Lucasfilm has pulled in a very, very, very long time, definitely go check out Wednesday night stream over on the Bounding into Comics channel. Check out all Bounding into Comics streams for probably the next month, because I am still just not over just this franchise. I can't with you anymore, man. I can't with you. Let's see. Reeve says, I had to make fun of the Acolyte with that message. Oh man, like that's what I'm saying. It is such a bad show. The power of, what is it? The power of two, the power of one, the power of always, right? Like whatever that stupid phrase is that they're saying. It is, oh man, like, do not get me started on this, Reeve. I can feel myself falling into it. I can feel myself getting ready to put on my Star Wars nerd hat, and I don't want to do it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank Mara Jade as... What? Mara Jade! No, I'm kidding. You guys, I hope everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's the ending clip that I have for this stream. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank Mara Jade as a redhead? So we've got Bolt weighing in. He says Mara Jade is a solid 8. She's no Mary Jane Watson, but she's high tier on the Star Wars waifu list. I think I actually have to go with Bolt, and like I agree 100% with his analysis. I think I might personally boost Mara Jade up one number to 9 because looking, in my old age of 34, or not 34 yet, of 33, looking back on like my childhood, right? There are, you have insights into like, oh, that's how I got into that. That's why I like this, yada, 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 yada. I have, like, Peter Parker, like Luke, I have an affinity for redheads, and I definitely think it came from not just Mary Jane, but, I grew up, when I was a kid, the core Star Wars material that was being put out at that time, all the EU stuff, was around Mara Jade. And Mara Jade was a babe. They always put her in like a black, like skin tight bodysuit. She always had the cool, like purple lightsaber before Mace ever had it. She also has my favorite like design trope, which is like cloaks or like shredded cloaks or shredded scarves or just something light that like hangs over the neck. She has one of those. So I've always really, really loved Mara Jade. And so, yeah, I think I'll go with Bolt, but I might give her a 9. Ravul, pull the thread and let the force flow. I mean, they are writing it themselves. Like, they are writing it. This is what I will say on the matter. Obviously, Star Wars is dead. At this point, they are just putting bullets in the corpse that is on the ground. It feels like they took all of the criticisms that people leveled at them, and instead of saying, no, we can show them that we are not just weird vehicle now for fan fiction and marketing. Instead of pushing back against that, now they're just like leaning into it as if that's better, but it's really, 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 really not. Like, everybody is tired of the consumer corporatist part of Star Wars. Again, Jenny Nicholson, if you guys don't remember, it was only a couple weeks ago, but Jenny Nicholson's 4-hour video on the death of the Galactic Star Cruiser, the hotel that they had at Disneyland. Not only did she break down just how abysmal that was for fans and how nobody really liked it, but that video, the last time I looked a couple days ago, it was sitting at like 8 million views. People know. People are interested. People are aware that Disney is crapping itself when it comes to its big franchises. So I don't know. It's childish, right? It's, oh, okay, the way you're doing things isn't working. Can we help you? Like, can we change things? And it's, no, I'm going to do them harder. I'm going to show you my way is totally going to work. And that's where we are at this point, right? So it is, it's not a great time over in Star Wars. You know what? Go read the Star Wars Legends comic books, or what is it? Legacy, the Star Wars Legacy series. I always confuse the terms because they both start with LE. But the Dark Horse, John Ostrander, Legacy series that follows Cade Skywalker, Luke Skywalker's descendant, like 40 years in the future, or I think further than that, like 5 or 6 generations down the line. It's really, really, really good. It's good Star Wars content. It has one of my favorite Star Wars moments, right? And it sort of just, this is something I always want to highlight. You know what? Let me see if I can find it really quick, just because I feel like this needs to be visualized, if I can find the visuals. I'm cracking open my folder of saved comic book pages, and I am hoping it is in here. Otherwise, I'm going to have to crack on through all of the internet, and we all know how the internet does not like to give me any of the results I am ever looking for. So, damn you. Okay. Class, talk amongst yourselves, and we will be back. Twitter. See, this is like the one thing I would, in a sci-fi fantasy dream world, I would be in for like brain implants, right? Because it's like, oh, where's this thing? And it would go, here you go, do you want it? And I'm like, ah, thank you. I don't have to look like a jackass on stream, clicking around for something where I'm not entirely precisely sure where I last shared it. uh, and I don't even share that much on Twitter. Everybody here, or most of you guys in the chat at least right now, know that I'm relatively radio silent on Twitter, so it shouldn't be this hard to find it. But no, and now like all this build up, I have to find it. I can't just back out now. Oh gosh, wow, I have to go like really far back. Hey guys, did you just while we're scrolling, did you guys hear that Hasbro has no idea what they're doing with Power Rangers? I genuinely don't know how you screw up the Power Rangers brand. It is a money printing machine. It is universally beloved by boys and girls. Like it has that cross generational gender whatever appeal, and you go, I don't know what to do with this. Let's cancel everything. Let's farm out everything to literally any and everybody else. And it's like, okay, that didn't help. Let's see. Damn it, I know it's here. Yeah, don't worry, bro. You'd still look like a jackass on stream. Yeah, but it would be a jackass for a different reason. It wouldn't just be me going, slack-jawed. Okay, perfect. Okay, I finally found it. Let's see. Leon says, I didn't know that about Power Rangers, but they have no idea what they're doing with Magic the Gathering and D&D, so I can believe it with Power Rangers too. Hold that thought, Bolt. I want to get back to that Power Rangers bit, but let me bring up this page just so we get it out of the way. Let us see which I gotta make sure we're pulling up the right window as well. Otherwise, it will just be annoying. Cool. Let's go to the web. And yes, by the way, you can see that we have the, oh my gosh, what is going on here? What is going on with my background? I need to fix that. Very odd. I don't know what's going on. Sorry about this, guys. It should be... Yeesh, I genuinely couldn't tell you what's going on. I think it's supposed to be like that. Okay. Locked in. Don't know why that all moved. Obviously, in case it wasn't obvious, I was messing around with my StreamYard last night. I've done some cleanup. You can kind of see I made the border box here a little thinner. It was taking up too much real estate. And then we have a very special background for our Krakoa talk, but we'll get into that. So, hey girl, how is it going? Yeah, I am showing some skin. You missed it. It is summer in the American Southwest. I know that you Brits don't understand what heat is or sunlight, but it is currently roiling here. So unless you guys wanted me to stream, so here's the double negative about streaming on here, right? If I stream in a white shirt, which makes me appear better on the green screen, in like 5 minutes, you're going to see like giant pit stains, just even if I load myself up on Old Spice. So tank top it is for at least today. Yeah, you've been to Phoenix, I know, but have you been to Phoenix during the summer, during the actual summer? Did you go into the light, or did you just, crawl through your poobs all day? You got to go to your poob and get your point. So, yeah, this interaction comes from Star Wars Legacy number 3. It is Cade Skywalker and Luke Skywalker. And if you guys remember, one of the big complaints from the current the more recent Star Wars sequels is Disney completely destroyed Luke's character. And they made him that crabby old man who ran away from all of his responsibilities and hates life. And the back and forth has regularly been, October has nothing on the summer, okay, girl? I understand and I do sympathize. October is bad enough, but this is like DEFCON 5 level heat. But the back and forth normally goes, why did you destroy his character? Well, we wanted to show that, maybe his ways don't always work. Maybe we wanted to show him, at a lower point in his life, blah, 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 blah. And I always thought it was such a bad execution, because Luke shouldn't be that person who gives up. He should be, like he is in this interaction, he should be the hero, like the hero archetype, not the savior, not the martyr or anything, but like the archetypal Sir Galahad, like just the hero. the David and your Goliath, just that kind of character. So I'm obviously not gonna sit here and detail this interaction for you guys. I highly encourage you guys to go check this out if you are interested in Star Wars, want good comic books, any of that sort of stuff. But basically, you have the shaggy looking guy there is Luke's descendant from like I said, about like 7-8 generations in the future, and he abuses death sticks because he doesn't want his connection to the Force. He hates it. He doesn't like being reminded of the past, of the fact that he's a Skywalker. He wants to be his own self. So Luke regularly reaches out to him in the Force going, you are strong. You have midi-chlorians. You should embrace this, follow in our footsteps. And he regularly just goes like, leave me alone. This is the way you should like show that dynamic, how you show how people can be broken and redeem themselves, or how the world is hard. You don't have to take the original established character and destroy him. You can use him as the sounding board for your idea, right? And this just boils down to one of my favorite moments ever, which is just right here where Luke's like, I know, like, you're being stubborn. You're kind of like I was. You're kind of like Anakin was, but eventually you're going to accept your destiny. And he's like, you should just do it. Like, we've got to do it. And Cade is just like, you better leave me alone. And Luke's like, how are you going to do that? Like, just death sticks? You'll get sober eventually. And he just threatens like, I will kill myself. And if you don't go, what are you going to do about it, Luke? And Luke eventually is just like, all right, fine, live it. But throughout the series, Luke is regularly there pushing him like, go, like be a Jedi. And he just pushes back against it. It's just such a good dynamic that I feel like I can't do justice to in a 5-minute stream where I'm just doing a quick or like in a 5-minute segment of a stream where I'm just doing a quick recommendation. Go check these books out. Obviously, you can see here, Star Wars Legacy #3, written by John Ostrander and Jan de Surma, who were like some of the biggest EU creators back in the day. Go find the books, go find the hardcovers. I think they just got reprints if you're looking for those. Highly recommended. I don't even know how we got here, but let's go to, let's see, to Bolt's point, to the thing about Power Rangers. Let's just touch on this really quick because let me pull up a good Bounding article to talk about it. So, in case you guys didn't hear the news earlier this week, so in 2019, Hasbro bought the rights from Saban to a bunch of their entertainment properties, which included things like My Little Pet Shop, a couple other things that are very obscure, but I know kids like, and of course, Power Rangers. Under that impression, or under that deal, Power Rangers, or Hasbro said, we're going to go to Netflix and we're going to start a brand new cinematic universe, right? They wanted to reboot the show. They wanted to give it a new young adult angle, right? And you guys know that I'm not the kind of person to delve into this sort of like eye rolling, like, the message, blah, 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 like on the stream. But we all know what a young adult Power Rangers would have been. We already kind of saw it in that 2017 movie, if you guys remember, right? There's your, you have revenge porn. They're all super hyper diverse. The Red Ranger is a white guy who's an idiot. Just like things like that. Like, you know what we would have gotten. It would have been a CW show on steroids, or a CW show and movies on steroids. So that was in development for about has been in development for about 5 years. In that time, Hasbro has completely sort of fumbled the license. The television show was supposed to end back in 2019, and it was supposed to be ended for this reboot. And Hasbro just wouldn't let them. They were like, no, we're going to do like new shows instead. So we got 3 new series that all were showrun by a guy who on Twitter came out, and you can find the article on Bounding Into Comics. He came out, Simon Bennett, and said, Power Rangers needs to abandon its tokusatsu roots. This is too goofy for people. If it wants to grow its audience, it needs to grow up and get serious. Kids aren't going to take this seriously. So for that reason, they started making really dumb design changes, and pardon, like things like the latest season, Cosmic Fury, instead of using Sentai footage of the suits, they made their own original suits, and they look like ass. Do I have a picture of them? No, I don't have them in here. But let's see. Maybe it might be. Yeah, like these are the original Ranger outfits, and they're just so boring. You can see they are the standard like Hollywood design, superhero design, where they just have lines on everything, and the costumes are like the colors are randomly segmented for no reason. It's really, really bad, and it's like, why would you do this? Just use Sentai. So the television show has been a wreck for a while. It finally came to an end in this year, last year with Cosmic Fury. There is currently no Power Rangers show on television. In terms of the toys, they didn't know what they were doing with the toys, so they stopped making most of the, like, you know, accessory type toys, like, oh, the masks that you buy at Target, or the weapon toys that all the little kids love. And for a long time, their main product was this line called the Lightning Collection, which were these, and I definitely know I have pictures of those, but they were, you've probably all seen them in stores. They are the pretty standard Ranger toys. They are the American collector's market style toys. They're I'd probably put them on the same level as like the Marvel Legends line, probably maybe a little higher, but not quite to the level of McFarlane toys, or like the McFarlane, what do they call them nowadays, the McFarlane Multiverse line. But they're pretty solidly decent figures, and just because I'm sure you guys have seen them, like this was the packaging they came in. Like I have this Lightning collection, Lost Galaxy Red, and yeah, like they're not bad figures, and like all dedicated collectors lines, they had their fans. And I will, let's see, do I have I think it's here. One cool thing they did do for this line though is I need a picture of it. Darn. They did these really cool. I know I can find it. There we go. They're all in here. They did these really cool. Yeah, well, there's one of them. But they did Street Fighter crossover figures for the Lightning Collection line. So you had like Red Hawk Ryu here, or no, this is Soaring Falcon Ken, and then I think I have the other picture in here. Yeah, like there's Chun-Li. Like they had some cool ideas, and people were collecting them, and people were always excited, and they were anticipating them. Out of nowhere, like in 2022, they just decided to stop. They didn't announce it. They just stopped putting things out. Didn't announce anything new, and they stopped production of the line in the middle of like teams coming out. If you collected the entire Lightning Collection release like that they've put out, you would not, like, some of the teams would not have a full roster. I don't know about you guys, but that shit would drive me absolutely bonkers. Not only because like I do have, you know, actual diagnosed like obsessive compulsive disorder, but you can't have like you can't get all of the members of a team and then just not get like the last one. Like you gotta get that set. I don't know. I feel like it's so weird. Like, did you guys ever have that friend? One sec. Like I would have friends growing up who, oh yeah, I got all of the Justice League members. Like I have Wonder Woman, Batman, Aquaman, Superman, Flash, and it's like, okay, do you have the Green Lantern toy? It's like, no, I don't want Green Lantern. No, he's not part of the team. And it's like, he is part of the team. It's like, I don't want him to be part of my team. And it's just like, but you're so close. Like, why wouldn't you just close out the set? Like, I genuinely don't understand it. And that's the thing, Andrew. The Lightning Collection was selling relatively well. It was one of the more consistent sellers for Hasbro. And I don't know if you guys know, but Hasbro has this HasLab program where they will basically crowdfund potential releases. You guys might have seen just floating around the internet like they did like a Ghost Rider with his cycle, the Danny Ketch with like the big plated like scary face motorcycle. They did a giant Galactus toy. They've done or they tried to fund a couple Star Wars like sequel trilogy set piece figures that nobody bought. But by large, the figures they put up for the Lightning collection, like certain team releases and certain variant figures and stuff, those all were like immediate sellers. Like they all went just like that. Like they went fast. So it was just out of nowhere. They went, no, we're going to stop that. So not only did they stop the Lightning collection, but earlier this year, Hasbro announced that they would be farming out the production of Power Rangers toys to fucking Playmates, right? So I have that sort of criticism in my voice because Playmates, we know what those toys are. Those are for like younger kids, and their quality is not as consistent, especially if you're looking for more adult, not even adult figures, just like K1 through 6 level figures, right? Playmates make stuff for the K, like the what is it? Yeah, the pre-K to K, like the pre-kindergarten to kindergarten crowd. They don't make stuff for the actual audience of Power Rangers. So that's where they're at right now. Throughout all of this, one of the most consistent sellers or like highlights of the franchise at all was, yeah, exactly, Ravul, the Roncore. That was one of the ones I was remembering too, from HasLab. But throughout all of this, Power Rangers did have one bright spot, and that happened to be the Boom comic book series, where I don't know if you guys have been reading it. In recent years, it's gotten a little, what's the right word here? It's sort of exhausted its creative energies right now. It could probably go away for like a year or two and get a reboot. But to that end, Hasbro just announced like earlier this month or like last month that this year, no more comics, or they're ending the Boom series. They're not rebooting it. They're not, rebooting it or re-releasing anything or starting a new series. They are just straight up done with the license for the foreseeable future. We have no idea what they're going to be doing with it. So all that sort of said, Hasbro, the brand's existence under Hasbro has been, for the most part, a complete cratering disaster. And I need you guys to understand just how extreme of a disaster this is. So, I've been referencing various points of this throughout my ranting, but Power Rangers is one of those brands that was, it is a toy company's dream, right? It has a huge roster of colorful characters with lots of accessories and vehicles to make that kids would want to dress up as, with like you can make mask toys or like glove toys. Do you guys remember as kids, like they used to make like Power Rangers gloves where if you like clenched it down or whatever, it had a sound box and it would play like Morphin' Time and stuff like that. Like toys like that. You have that big stable. Then you have a cross-generational audience, right? Like people who were kids when Power Rangers came out will show their kids and they'll bring them in and go, you might not like the one that daddy and mommy liked when they were kids, but look, there's a new one for you to get into. Why don't you get into that? And so on and so forth as people get older and have kids or, branch out, start, sharing things. So you had that, and Power Rangers was while it was primarily a boys brand, there were a lot of young girls who really, really, really liked the series. I don't know if I've told the story here on this show, but one of my uncles, his family, they're not particularly nerdy, right? They love, sports and hanging out. Like they're just sort of your normies. But when his daughter, my little cousin, was like 6 or 7, independently of like her family and everything, she found Power Rangers Samurai and she loved it. Every time I would go visit, she'd go, oh, cousin Spencer, will you go watch an episode with me? Please, please, please. Like, it, you love Power Rangers. And like, I remember being so taken aback because I was like, you are the last sort of demographic I would have thought would have ever gotten into Power Rangers, but here you are. And it's not just like casual into it. She knew the like henshin moves and she knew everybody's names and she knew the plot. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, that's awesome. So you basically have this giant money-making brand ready to go. And add to that we are currently in an era of like tokusatsu renaissance in the States. We're starting to get more releases, more support for these series, whether it's Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Super Sentai, Godzilla, which is tokusatsu, right? Like, we are starting to get more of that media, and lots more people are getting interested in it by the day. So you have this giant wave that you can capitalize on and go, oh, Sentai's in again. Let's, people know we have Sentai. We have our own Sentai. We have Sentai at home. Let's put it out. Let's see what we can do with it. And instead of doing that, they just completely fumbled all of it. So it has just been baffling as a Power Rangers fan to be sitting here on the outside looking in going, what are you guys doing? And I mean, here's sort of the most representative problem Hasbro has had, and it's so representative of the issue with the entire Power Rangers situation is oh no, I totally blanked on what was going to be complete on my super important point that I was going to use to drive everything home. That is completely unfortunate. Why does that happen to me? Before I guess I will go to the chat real quick and see what you guys are talking about, and then maybe it'll come back to me. But let's see. Andrew says Hasbro has been a detriment for several major brands in recent years. D&D fan here. Oh yeah, I mean, Hasbro in general has been in a complete spiral. D&D is doing terribly. The Transformers is finally kind of on an upswing, but only in name recognition. Its reputation is rebuilding thanks to the Skybound comics, but it's not the big powerhouse it could have been. Again, they've missed so many opportunities to capitalize on what they have. And to me, the one area of Hasbro that aside from Power Rangers, that always makes me go, you guys are dumb, is Magic the Gathering. Because while Magic the Gathering is, regularly their most well-performing line, the way they treat that line, it's just going to spiral. Right now, that line is, they're starting to license things out, right? You get your Fallout cards, you get your Doctor Who cards. That costs money. So they're sort of doing the Funko Pop thing where, oh, we bought a license, not okay, now we need to pay off that license. Let's license something else. And it just is sort of this cascading line of bullshit. Oh, dude, Leon, do not even get me started on Magic the Gathering. I am a big card game player. I still play Magic with my friends. I only buy secondhand products. I don't give money to Hasbro, but sidebar, Leon, my big complaint with Magic the Gathering is it is corporate greed to the max, where for those who don't know Magic, nowadays they release new sets every month with what I don't even know what the right term is, but filler sets, expansion fillers in the middle where they might throw in 6 or 7, 8, 9 new rare cards or whatever. And it's constant. It does not stop. If you buy a card, there's a good chance that next week it is completely outdated and worthless. And it has just gotten completely stupid. There are new mechanics every other fucking day in that game. It has gotten unwieldy in that aspect. Yeah, exactly, Leon. Leon says, I've been boycotting Wizards of the Coast for 3 years now, not just for wokeness, but because product fatigue is real. That's what I'm saying, dude. I hate the idea that I can go buy, I'm going to go play, what's the new one? Modern Horizons 3, and I could get my deck ready and I could spend I need to spend $70 or $100 on that card to round out my deck, and I do it and I'm yes, let's go. I put in all this effort, all this cash, I studied this meta, and again, a week later a new set is announced and everything I just put into this is gone. There's a new card in that set, so the $100 investment I just made, that card is now worth $15 and I'm shit out of luck. It is such, they don't know what they're doing over there. In terms of Magic, it's gotten so bad that you have Bank of America analysts going on to Wall Street shows, MSNBC and Jim Cramer and stuff, going, Hasbro is killing itself with its greed. Like, it's actually insane. And going, like, they are making way too much Magic product. They need to chill the hell out. Otherwise, people are going to walk away. And that's pretty much where people have gotten. That's another reason why they had to start licensing everything, because they needed to pull people back in with something, because everybody just was like, I am completely done with this noise. Let's see. Oh, hey, Eccentric Banana. I didn't even see you cross into here. What is going on, amigo? Bolt says, I had no idea you were a Magic the Gathering fan to this level. That gives us even more to talk about in the future. I'm still a tournament player, but I don't buy sealed product, just like you, only third party. Yeah, unfortunately, I spend most of my, like, tournament effort on the One Piece card game and the Dragon Ball Fusion World card game. But I have, in my local area, my local group of friends out here in Arizona, they are all big Magic players, so we still just play amongst ourselves, if you will, right? Like, I just got in this week the I guess this is sort of like breaking the rule, but I just bought like the Hatsune Miku secret lair drops, right? Like, I had to. They were anime girls, but like, that's what I'm saying is, more to my point is that, yeah, I have a healthy appreciation for it still. I play it all the time. We can definitely talk words. Andrew says the state of most of the big trading card games are really toxic in that manner, with how quickly they rotate sets or make mechanics and cards irrelevant. I agree, and I wish something would give, in the sense that, like, I don't like that there's so much product creep, so much, like, mechanic creep in all of these card games. So, like, mechanic creep gets so bad that not only do they do the, like, confusing, like, rotating out things, like, you can only use cards from this set, not this set, but, like, let me think. Damn it! Every time I think about a point I want to make to you guys, like, specifically, like, to the chat, I always completely blank on it. But that's what I was gonna say. Mechanic creep can get so bad that this is what happened with the Dragon Ball card game. So Dragon Ball Super has had a card game since about 2016. They introduced a brand new card game. It was by Bandai, and it was really fun, and that's when I started playing it. And they've been supporting it for the past few years. We are currently on, like, starter deck 45 and booster set, like, 27, I think, is the one that's about to come out. And the game, like, it has its support, it has its players, but they started introducing so many ridiculous mechanics that required you to do, like, 700 things on a board just to do one thing, if you know what I mean. Like, I put this card under him, and then that means I put a counter over here, and then that counter has to get moved over here, and then that moves down here, and now I can flip out that card, and then because of its text, and it was just like, I know that what I'm describing sounds like, oh, that's standard card game moves, but this is like, every action was that long of a, like, process. It is currently, like, really insane. It got so bad, they straight up said, okay, we're going to make a brand new card game, and it's going to be, we're starting from the ground zero. It's a Dragon Ball card game. It's called Fusion World, but we're starting from zero. And you guys can, jump in here. All those rules don't matter anymore. Like, let's restart. And it, like, I can't believe you just restarted the game. To sell how, like what makes me stunned about that move is that instead of trying to fix the current card game, they just said, we're starting over. And to drive home just how, like, barefaced lazy this move was, the backing of both games, like, here, give me 1 second to grab a visual. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to my main face so you guys can all see what I'm talking about. Share stream, that's right. Give me all your hours while I play other people's content. So here is a card. This card right here. Let's see, how can I do it? This cooler card, which its text isn't really showing up. Oh, it's because he's blending in with my green screen. But so this cooler card is from the Dragon Ball Super Masters card game, like the first one. And here is what it looks like on the back of the card, right? Okay. Here is a Goku card from the brand new Fusion World game, right? Completely, you can see like completely different card design on the front. They do not share the mechanics. They cannot be used in the same game. Clearly two different systems. Literally the same card like back. They didn't even make a new design. Absolute insanity. Like, that's what I'm talking about. It's gone from putting in actual effort into like cultivating their games to just pumping out product. Just pumping it out and pumping it out. There was a point where, or like it's not was a point. Whoops. Dropped that. My cards. Like, it's gotten to the point where like Bandai just keeps dropping new special releases and like I'm buying them. You've got me. Like I don't like myself for it, but I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, to what you guys are all saying, to Andrew's point, to Bolt's point, like, yes, absolutely. Card games have gotten to an absolutely stupid point. And to your point, to your admission, Leon, I too have those Secret Lair Street Fighter cards, but I bought them secondhand. Zangief is actually the leader I use as my main commander leader. Just heads up if we ever play. Let's see. My boy Donut, I saw you are hanging out here. Back on the topic of Power Rangers, where we started with this, he is saying, I never finished Samurai, but Samurai was the last Ranger series that reignited my interest as a series when I was starting to grow out of it. Gold Ranger Antonio was my favorite. Yeah, like, that series, there is something... I remember at the time when that series was coming out, people were like, this is a little weird. It generally wasn't the most well received among like older like critics and stuff. But then it's in hindsight, it's become one of those like we didn't know how good we had it, because like we thought like it's sort of like straining here, but then we got everything that came after, and then we got everything that came after that, and so yeah, like to me, Samurai represents the last high point for the overall Power Rangers franchise. Let's see. Yeah, Andrew says, damn, EA and Ubisoft called and want their strategies back. It is bad, my friend. Like, here's how they have, like, they will release... I don't know if you guys know about the evil that is P Bandai, but Bandai has their own sort of exclusive collectors club website where they release a lot of exclusive items there, whether it be like Figuarts figures, Gunpla kits, clothes, or, you know, special sets for their card games or playmats, and everything like that means they get to control all the price. There's no market competition, and they get to charge whatever the fuck they want for shipping, which is always absolutely insane. There was a thing they offered like last year. It was, you got a card, like a not a deck box, but like the long box you put your cards in. You got one of those, a mat, and both of those were themed after Whitebeard from One Piece, and it came with those two items came with a very limited special one singular Whitebeard card. Now that entire set costs about $40, which is like, if you play card, it seems a little weird, but if you play card games, that's not an exorbitant price for all of those materials, right? But I'm not paying $50 in shipping to get a single card. Like, I can't bring myself in good conscience to do that. Hey, what's going on? Fletcher, my man. He says, I almost got into cards, but saw my friends spending so much on them. I was like, wow. Chose comics and video games instead. I mean, that's... I unfortunately, like... I've been in that same situation as you, Fletcher. Like, I went like, oh, look at all the money that card games would cost me. And I fucking blinked. I blinked, and I hate myself for it. Oh, all that money. But no, like, I love card games. I mean, I'm sure I've talked about it on this stream before, but I'm one of those rare weirdos when a card-based video, like, battle system comes out. Like, I love those. Chain of Memories, Marvel's Midnight Suns, like, give Capcom versus SNK Card Clash. Give me more of that stuff. I have to be very, very careful to not get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon. And here's the problem with both of those franchises and why they are very like I have to be actively careful instead of like who brought it up? One of you guys brought up Y Schwartz, and Y Schwartz is cool, but there's nothing. The game system itself is really solid, and I actually really like a lot of what they do. But there's nothing about the property itself. I know that they do like crossover stuff nowadays, but even that, like, I don't care about like Sword Art Online or any of that stuff, right? So like that doesn't appeal to me. Universus doesn't appeal to me because I don't really care about those other Shonen Jump series. Like I don't need to play a My Hero Academia card game, right? I don't need to play a Bleach card game. I just no appeal there. But Yu-Gi-Oh, it's got like Sentai creatures, it's got sexy anime babe creatures, like that's gonna get me. And then Pokemon, they're like, it's Pokemon, and they're all the cards are colorful and they're foil. Who like it's just the lizard part of my brain goes shiny. I want the shininess, and it's just like I don't know what to do. I am powerless. I am powerless against the shiny. So, like I hear all of you guys. There was a game. There is a game called Battle Spirit Saga or something like along that line. I think it has like a longer name. But that game is absolutely like nobody plays it. It is like not supported at all. When I went to Bandai Nationals earlier this year, the Y Schwartz or the Battle Spirit Saga tournament, it had a payout. Like if you entered the top, I think 1,000 players, or no, it was the top 500 players would each get a $1,000 payout, right? Like as part of the pool, and because of all the buy-in prices. They only got like 500 entrants, which meant like by default all of them would have to get, or they got like less than 500. So it was like if you entered, you got money. So they had to like restructure the tournament rules before the event started. But that game almost got me because they did an Evangelion set. Like they did a full crossover set with Evangelion, and I'm like, I need my unit. Oh, too. You're telling me the Eva units, like my favorite anime, is finally in trading card game form? What am I gonna do? Like I need them. So like I need to go to like Card Games Anonymous, right? Yeah, exactly, Fletcher. You get me. Like I feel you, bro. We all have that nerd fix. Let's see. Yeah, Wolf says like at one point I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Let's see. I'm currently playing Dragon Ball Super Masters, Dragon Ball Fusion World, Casual Magic the Gathering, One Piece, and there was something else I think I just started getting into. I can't remember. But yeah, like I'm clearly playing way too many card games for my own good. Let's see. Donut says, don't know how true this is, but I also heard Samurai was one of the ones that followed their Sentai counterparts the closest in terms of plot. It did. That's one of those like the best way I can sort of approximate it, Donut, is you know how the Ace Attorney games, you know how when they localize that, it's like, oh, what a beautiful day in Los Angeles, and then the cutscene cuts to like a wide shot of like Mount Fuji over the like Tokyo skyline. That's sort of what I feel like Power Rangers Samurai is, where they kind of just went like, here's the same story and stuff, but instead of like Aoshi, like that's Katie now. Like that, it felt really close with, obviously with its Americanized bits thrown in, but it wasn't bad. Like I seriously really enjoyed it. There was like I still think a lot about the way they morph by like making the symbol and then like jumping through it. So sick. Let's see. Yeah, I saw you in here, Josh. Where are you? Get your ass in here. Get rabble. I don't even have anything to say to you. What's going on, amigo? Fletcher says, my buds spend thousands on Magic the Gathering, but glad they don't have a fixation on the new crap. Dude, my friends, like, I have like 2 decks. I have friends who have like the battle cases. Like, we'll show up and be like, what format, what level are we playing tonight? All right, let me see. Clink, clonk, clink. Here we go. I'm going to play this deck. And I'm just like, dude, I don't even know. I've gone. So it's really weird. Maybe you guys have similar experiences, but like I noticed this recently. When I was growing up, there were a lot of, or not even when I was growing up, when I was still living in California. So this was up until like 2019, up until the pandemic. There were lots of like comic book stores, but there were not a lot of hobby like game stores. Like I don't remember a lot of places, if any, in San Diego that were, or no, I take that back. I only remember like 2 places in the whole of San Diego County that really sold like singles or was like a dedicated card shop. Like the card shop I went to play the competitive Dragon Ball back then, it was you walk into like, it's a beaten down strip mall. You walk into like a door front with that has like no real signage, doesn't look like there's a business in this like spot. There's, once you go into that front room, it is a single like 5-person occupancy room with a guy behind the counter and a bunch of like opened product, like card product behind you, because he does selling on like TCG Player. And then after you pay your entrance fee, you walk down like a 6-foot hallway into the like back loading garage of the shop, where he had plastic tables set out for everybody to do their shit on. Like he didn't even have like drinks to offer. You had to make sure you grabbed all of your own shit, or you were running down to the 7-Eleven in between matches. But out here in Arizona, there's like so many card shops. Like I can spend a day going and hitting like 20 different card shops, all selling singles. We just had like the first annual like trading card game convention in like Phoenix like a couple weeks ago. And to that point, I was just gonna say, like, I've followed, like, to Fletcher's point, I have gone with my friends while they've gone card hunting before, and I have watched them drop just like hundreds of dollars on singles while we're going, and I'm just like, good luck. Like, can I maybe like look at it? Like, I'll never have enough money to be on your level, but can I like look at your cards from behind a case? Let's see. Leon says, I never got into the recent Dragon Ball trading card game because it would take away from Magic the Gathering time, but I adored the OG DBZ trading card game back in the mid-2000s. So, I feel like the meme right now, like OG DBZ trading card game mention, because that game ruined me, right? So like when I was a kid, I got into Magic really, really, really early. Like I played base set back in the day. Obviously I didn't stick with it because I think I've told you guys this before, but if I have to pick a general setting of like the media I'm going to be enjoying, I don't really like sword and sorcery, like high fantasy. It's never going to be my first pick. I have a couple exceptions, things like Lord of the Rings, Legend of Zelda, stuff like, certain Final Fantasy games. But on a whole, if you're like, oh, here's a tale of knights and magic and dragons, I'm like, are any of them robots? Do any of them have like super cool energy powers? Do any of them transform? Like that's what I'm like. So that's where I go. So I slowly eventually dropped out of Magic in favor of Pokemon, because Pokemon is Pokemon. And then while playing Pokemon, that DBZ card game came out, and it was my life. I still somewhere in my wide range of, or like my wide bag of tricks, have all of those cards. Like I used to go to Wizards of the Coast in San Diego, where I grew up, used to have a dedicated store where they would host tournaments every week for Pokemon and Dragon Ball. So I would play in the Pokemon ones in the morning, and then I would go play in the Dragon Ball ones at night, like, or like in the late afternoon or whatever. Like I loved that game. Oh man, Leon, and I love bringing it up because you are the second person who I know played it or had an affinity for it. The other is Andrew, Caffeinated Wolf, in the chat right now. Like he and I, we have those moments regularly. Like we'll be talking about Dragon Ball or card games, and then it's like, remember that old Upper Deck one? Hell yeah, my man! And we'll just like get into it. I remember there was a promotion that card game did, where this was like such an old school promotion. It makes me sort of sad they don't do this anymore. But it was like, send in 100 like UPC codes from booster packs, or just send in like 100 booster pack like wrappers, and you get an exclusive set of cards. And I remember like I was obsessed with getting those. My mom like bought them, or she bought like we were really poor, like growing up, and my mom knew I wanted those, so she like reached out to friends and like got contacts, because she was working in like the printing industry and stuff at the time. So she was able to get like a really good deal on 2 booster boxes, which would be enough to get that set. and she would make me do chores all summer to like get one booster pack. And I remember being a kid being like, is there anything I can do now? Like, what do you need me to wash the car? Do you need me to do the dishes? Like, how can I get another booster pack? Like, that is a very fond memory game for me there, Leon. Like, man, like you just unlock all those memories. Let's see. Ravul says Shadowverse Evolve Umamusume Pretty Derby crossover set is interesting. Wait, that's the horse girl racing anime, right? Like, Shadowverse did a crossover with that? See, now you've got me. I was out, now they're reeling me back in. Like, that's the kind of shit. I'm not gonna lie. You can get me. You can sucker me with IP. I am not immune to it. It just has to be the right IP, and it has to be used in like the right way. Let's see. Yeah, Timon says Power Rangers Samurai in the West was so stupid. Ancient Samurai family of non-Japanese. Yeah, it was really, really stupid. But that's sort of what I was saying, right, Timon? Where it was the like closest localization to like the original media that they were putting out. But yeah, like it is really funny to see them like, oh, I've woken up in my ancient Japanese temple with my master, and my name is Craig. Like, it's so like it is very, very funny. You probably couldn't get away with it anymore these days because political correct, but at least we got it when we did. Let's see. First, Ravul says, why Schwartz signature cards look great. They do look great, and I do know for a fact that like one of their, I think it's like the girl from Sword Art Online. There's one from her voice actress that sells for like $9,000. Like, the card is ridiculously rare, and people go out of their way to like acquire it. Never underestimate the power of waifuism. Like, I am not even joking. That is, you put somebody's waifu on something, they will run over and they will slam it down. Just like, again, the Miku card set. I have never bought a secret layer drop directly from Wizards, but they put out that Miku set, and I went, take my money. Don't even look me in the eye. Take my damn money. And then Reeve says, what is your dream anime-based trading card game that doesn't exist? So, a dream trading card game for anime card game that doesn't really exist. Now, I will say this at the top, and I am doing this as a favor. I will say at the top that obviously my dream card game is a Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Ultraman, just like Toku universe sort of card game, but that's not anime. So we will put that on the shelf and say that is okay. Like, that's over there. Now, in terms of actual card game, I would love to one day see either a very, very proper Shonen Jump like universal card game, which is what, so I mentioned it earlier, there's this game called Universes that's coming out, which is essentially that, like, it puts a bunch of different properties onto the same system. So like, I could be playing a Bleach deck, and Ravul could be playing a My Hero Academia deck, and then Andrew could be playing like a what is that one? I think it's like a Hunter X Hunter deck, like that sort of system. But I want to see it like, I don't. How do I describe this? Let me pull up. Let me see if I can even get. Oh, I even say I don't even know if that's the right name. Universes might be the wrong name. What is the here? There is, what the hell is the? Okay, it's. Ah, man, this is really bothering me now. It's not Universes. It's do you guys know it? No, you guys don't. It is for. Oh my God! Why do I? This is seriously like blowing my brain that I. There it is. Union Arena. That's what it's fucking called. Holy shit. Not Universes. Union Arena. Okay, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So, here, for example, is a, and I gotta, let me pull up another one. Okay, cool. This should work. So, let's go to the big board. There is this button. So here is a standard leader card from the One Piece trading card game. I just want to show you guys the design, see how, just get a feel for like the quality of the production of the card, right? You can see the art sort of pops to life. It's even got its effects coming off the border. Everything else feels very clean and very uniform, very much like you were playing a cohesive collective set of things, right? So that's the One Piece card game. Here are the Universes card, or the Union Arena. So here's the Union Arena card for Gone. To me, these cards feel, there goes a microphone hit. These feel cheap. These feel like they just took a random piece of art, threw it on a card, and then said, call it a day. There doesn't feel like there's any cohesion here. It just feels like, it just feels cheap. And it doesn't sort of help that this game, in the spirit of the game, they try to keep everything in their own art styles, but they use their anime art styles, so everything looks similar but not similar, and with like less artistic detail and everything, so it all just comes away feeling very, very cheap. Like it feels like a mobile game, right? Like, you play a mobile game, you go like, I recognize that pose. That's the splash art they use for everything. Or if you're like playing like a DC game, you're like, I recognize that pose. That's the Dark Knight Returns poses. Like, it just you see it, it doesn't feel right, and they all just end up feeling cheap. Like even here, but the ones I wish I could zoom in on them, but like these are the special leader cards for those guys, and they look fine. These look better, but they still don't have that sort of stylistic cohesion that it should. So what I would like to see someday is a full-on just Shonen Jump trading card game where you have a good universal system where the cards all have good production and cohesion and look like they should be at least in the same game. And, then you could have like Goku versus Luffy, Luffy versus freaking Bobo, like all of this stuff. So that is my dream. That's one of them. And then my other dream anime trading card game would be a Gundam one. But I put the caveat on that one that I don't know if the best form for a Gundam game would be like a pure regular trading card game, which of course it would work, but is there something cool we could do with like a battle system, or like what am I trying to say? Like a war game type thing. Like, can we have units? Is there a different play style we can do? Like, there's just a lot that I think you could do there that I think just needs to be fleshed out by somebody who's actually sitting down and putting thoughts into it. Let's see. Josh, I got into Magic very early. I am a wizard, Josh. I am a wizard, and I only, you know what I use that magic to do? I use that magic to take naps and watch tokusatsu shows. That's all I want to do. Fletcher says, yes, there was like a ton of, the microphone fell. Good gosh. Let's see. Fletcher says, yes, there's like a ton of new card game shops now, or new card shops now. Even in Vegas, we have a bunch. Have a great stream. Oh man, yeah, dude. Always a pleasure to see you, Fletcher. Have fun over with Paulie. Give him my regards. He's the man. And yeah, so okay, it isn't just me. So like more card shops. It's cool. I like it. It's just it's a very noticeable sort of change in how accessible my hobbies have been. Let's see. Volume Dealer says, I started playing Star Wars Hunters. It's kind of cool, but of course, black women and no clear white men. Oh, is that the that's the like Overwatch clone, right? I heard that was actually a lot of fun to play, but I will admit that even looking at its character designs, I was sort of like, I know what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at Star Wars Valorant. Damn it. Sorry guys, you're probably hearing a bunch of like rattling. My stand wasn't sitting down. Yes, Timon, that is what I would do too. A waifu Rangers game. Just give me, Put all your cute anime girls into a card game, and I will play whatever the hell you want me to play. Like, it's not, I am a simple man. But let's see. Ravul says the Record of Lodos War, the Eminence in Shadow, and Seraph of the End trading card games would be great. Yeah, like, that's sort of what I'm saying with, like, Gundam, right? I think the big war properties are ripe for card games. I think while a good standard card game would be acceptable and a lot of fun, I think there is a potential there for so much more. Like, you could I just feel it, right? Like, there's a system you could do there with, like, the military setting and the units and the war fighting, and all of that could just spiral into something better. So that's what I that's what I want to see from, like, these card games. And then Andrew says, I have the Burger King promo cards too. Oh yeah, dude, I have those cards. I'm pretty sure I have, like, most, if not all, of the old school promo cards from both DBZ and Pokemon. Like, I have the gold cards. I know where they were. And then yeah, Volume Dealer, like the faux droid Jedi. I like the two Jawas standing on top of each other in a coat. Like, that to me, I think is, like, a really funny character design. Let's see. Oh, I jumped a little bit. Bolt says, dude, I feel ya. I bought the first Broly movie on either DVD or VHS, and it came with 3 Broly cards, and I was like, I need to get into this game, and it took me away from Pokemon. Good memories. Yeah, dude, like, that's what I'm saying. I remember the Cooler movie also came with a card, and I remember, like, Cooler's my favorite. I was so stoked to get that card, and, like, I still have that clamshell release somewhere out there. It's got to be somewhere out there. And yes, there is a horse girl racing anime thing, Andrew. I will show you in the server later. It is super. It's basically like, like derby racing horses. It's that, but they're horses, but they're depicted as cute anime girls, and it's just everything that follows from there. It's super. It's just like one of those lighthearted, cute things. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you later. I really like about that. Donut says, speaking of Shonen Jump games, I'm still wondering when that MOBA of theirs is getting a global release. I don't even play MOBAs, but I can't help but feel interested in it. That thing, I have no idea where that thing is. That thing has been under development for like 5 years, or not 5 years. That's extreme. Like 2 years at this point, and we've gotten no update on it. Like, it is very, very disappointing. But also, like, on that tip of Shonen Jump games, give me a re-release of Ultimate Stars already. The sprite-based 2D Shonen Jump fighter, like a Shonen Jump Smash Brothers. Like, you had perfection. You looked it in the eyes and you blinked. Why'd you have to do that to us? Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's right, dude. What was it? Who's saying that? Andrew right here saying there was a Gundam Wing card game in the late 90s, early. That's right. I think I might have like a card or two, maybe a starter deck, but I totally forgot about that. You were right. Like, color me corrected. But I would want, like, everybody. Like, I want all the units. I want to be able to do, like, again, like a unicorn deck versus a wing deck, or an Epion deck versus an RX-78, or a Zaku versus a what's his name? A Thunderbolt, or a Tequila. Like, that's all the stuff I want to see. And then, yeah, you're right on point, Leon. You want to make Gundam like 40K. Imagine custom painting your own Gundam minis. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see some. I want to see some sort of Gundam game like that. Imagine too, Bolt. Like, you don't even have to go full. You can do like minis for the regular units, but you can full up, like, just give them Gunpla to make like your commanders. And you could do it all to scale, and it would work. Because, like, even in Universe, the regular tanks and stuff are just, like, they're miniature sized. There's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of potential. Bandai, Namco, get us on the horn. We know what we're doing. I know you can hear me. Whoop, gonna drop my Gundam. Let's see. Donut says, that video when a friend gave me a playmat for free, but I don't even play card games. Oh yeah, someone who's playing Star Wars Hunters 2, I'm liking it. It's surprisingly not very predatory when it comes to monetization, which is surprising since it's made by Zynga. That's crazy. I can't believe that a Zynga game does not have insane monetization. And then I like this thing that Volume just pointed out. There's some cool levels like pod racing that cuts through the level that will eliminate you if you're in its path. Those are the little touches I love in video games. Like, that's what we need more of. Not just like a static, like, oh, here's a map. Like, put in stage hazards, put in, like, just different like level specific mechanics and level specific strategies. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Donut says, "Oh yeah, all this card game speak has me thinking of an old game from when I was a kid called Chaotic. It also had a show on 4Kids. Anyone remember that?" So I do remember that. If I go to, not only do I remember it, but I do when I go to all these card shops and I'm looking through, or I go to like secondhand stores and I'm looking through all the cards. There are a lot of Chaotic cards, and it's funny you bring that up because I was looking at a bunch the other day, and I had that thought to myself, like, how popular was this game? Because like I believe, Donut, you're like just you're probably like 5 or so years younger than me, so you were in that like a generation under me. And I remember like that game started coming out at the time when I unfortunately had to buckle down with school, and it was like senior year, and I was going to college, so I had to blah 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 blah. So like I didn't get into it, but yeah, I do remember it existed. I'm always in support if you can get like if you can get like an independent property to compete with like these big things like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, like more freaking power to you. Yeah, there we go. Shinkai's got it. Of course I remember Chaotic. If someone remembers Duel Masters, yes. Tai Chi Chasers or Red Kai, I will be impressed. Oh, who doesn't remember Duel Masters? To me, I feel like Duel Masters is the more likely to be remembered subject than Chaotic, right? But yeah, no, I totally remember Duel Masters. I think they're still doing stuff with Duel Masters. Are they not? I could be completely off base. That was one I didn't get into, but I definitely I definitely remember that Duel Masters was a thing. I think I remember Tai Chi, but I don't know if I remember Redekai. I'd have to see the cards. That would definitely like spark my memory. Donut says, "I'd say Chaotic was decently popular with kids my age, but most people at least watched or knew of it, but I don't know how many people actually played it." I'm gonna have to say, like, it's gotta be a lot, because it's not like I see Chaotic cards in one shop and it's only like 4 or 5. I go to every shop and there's just like bunches and bunches of like Chaotic cards for sale, and I'm just like, somebody clearly had a collection at some point. So yeah, somebody prove it to us. I have no idea how to end that out. I presume it was probably fairly super popular. Donut. Reeve asked, almost forgot, Xenoblade when? Xenoblade when I have the freaking time next. It has just been, I know you guys are tired of hearing me say it, but work has just been insanely stupid. And then with, there have been some stuff going on, some family things going on that I've had to be more attentive to in the last like week or two. And then of course you've got Father's Day coming up. So I've just been running all over the place. Maybe, hopefully this weekend, like I try every time, like I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I promise to you I'll try. But as for Andrew, I don't know whether he's just trying to get me to address the subject or he actually wants one. A Xenoblade trading card game. I would be in for that, but here's my problem with like super limited franchises like that. And I don't mean to say like Xenoblade doesn't have a lot to offer, but it's only like the 3 or 4 entries, right? Eventually you run out of things to make cards out of, and you just start recycling everything, and that loses like the novelty sheen from all these new releases, and you eventually just go, okay, great, it's that one again. All right. And so then eventually you just get to this point where interest sort of peters out. Now, if you did like a Smash Brothers card game where there was a bunch of stuff you could keep regularly refreshing, now we're on to something. Like the Final Fantasy card game, that exists, but there's like 700 different entries to pull on to make decks from there, so that like you can understand its viability. 4 Xenoblade Chronicle games, 3 Xenosaga, 1 Xenogears. Yeah, like there's a decent amount, but then I still worry that you get 6 sets in and then you start repeating, unless you, I don't know. This is all off the cuff. I've never put real consideration into a Xenoblade trading card game, but yeah, like of course the potential is there. And a Shin Megami Tensei and spin-offs game. I think that game exists. I swear to God, there's like a Persona card game right now, but I don't think it made it here yet. Let's go over here. Oh, I get. Yeah, no, I could have sworn there was some. Um. Oh yeah, see there it is. Persona Versus. Oh, there is a game, but it hasn't come here yet for reasons. And the game's old. See, December 2021, and I've even seen Bandai Namco offer special releases for it. So like, I don't know why you guys stopped. You have everything there. Like just especially with like Shin Megami Tensei 5 with Vengeance coming out. Like let's drop that shit. Yeah, Reeve, that's true too. I forgot about that one, the Fire Emblem trading card game, but it's exclusive to Japan. Let's see. Yeah, Leon says Xenoblade is too limited, but if you make it a Smash Bros. Trading card game and just pull from all Nintendo IPs, you're cooking. Nintendo can never make another game, and you'll still have sets coming out for like 2 centuries. Oh, dude, you know too that they would have like they would mine the hell out of like special releases or whatever. Like instead of a secret lair, they would have like the warp pipe, and you would get like, oh, here are 8-bit variant cards for like your standard heroes. Here are anime cards drawn by Tetsuya Nomura. Here are like all like the alternate costumes that you can wear, right? Like there's like Wario Man, then there's like regular Wario, and then there's Biker Wario. Like all of those, like you could milk the hell out of that. I know Nintendo will. Wow, I don't even remember how we got onto card games, but all of this to sort of say, yeah, Hasbro has no idea what they're doing with their business right now. They are completely fumbling, and it's not looking hot for them. And good luck, I guess. I mean, obviously we're all going to be here. I'll be playing Magic still, but yeah, the fact that they have fumbled Power Rangers is just a testament. I say this pretty regularly. There will be a point in the future where business classes, like management classes, entrepreneur classes, all of this stuff, they will look back on Disney's fumbling of Star Wars and Marvel, and it will be taught in classes as like how not to operate an IP, how not to do merchandising or licensing or any of this stuff. And but I think honestly, the fumbling of Power Rangers, of a brand that is completely universally beloved at a time when the genre is having a resurgence, it's a very close second. If it weren't for the fact that Power Rangers is just a lesser known property, then, or maybe not lesser known, but there's less of a fandom for Power Rangers than there is for Star Wars or Marvel. Like, if it weren't for that, if they were on equal terms, Power Rangers would probably be like it would be one of those pillars that we always refer to as like, look at how they've screwed it up. Like, this is completely awful. Leon says, damn, I literally made a channel harping on Wizards of the Coast greed, and now you're turning me into a hypocrite because that sounds awesome. I know, like, that's the hard part, right? Like, you don't want to support, but sometimes they get you by the cojones, and you're like, damn it, shut up and take my money. Man, we went for a long time on trading card games. I seriously want to start a trading card game stream or something. I want to get another camera so I can like open packs. I want to stream matches. Like, I really want to open up that content. But again, like, I want to get to the point where I can be paid to hang out with you guys and stream and talk about the news and play card games. So that's my current dream. Hey, Leon, get out of here. Thank you for stopping by. It was a blast talking to you. Have fun. I will talk to you very soon, if not by Monday. Let's see. Timon says the only card game I play has the same 52 cards. Canasta. I won the Canasta championship in my school against the principal. Dude, I've never been good at Canasta. I'm awful at it. Like, I feel like it would be one of those cool things to learn though, because it's like a whatchamacallit? Like, I just feel like it's one of those like classy old school activities. Like you have a cigar, you have some brandy, and you play Canasta. I don't know why I have that image in my head. It's probably not even close to being right, but that's definitely the image I have in my head. Let's see. Ravul asks, Kate Sheldon or Asumi Kuro as Nadira? Probably Asami. Like, that doesn't even really feel like a question or like a competition, right? Let's see. Yeah, Andrew says we can play the Pokemon card game online and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel games. Like, I would be in. I just need somebody. I need to get me my 1,000 subscribers so I can get YouTube partnership, and then I can start getting ads from when people watch me, and I can get some like revenue from that. That's all I'm saying. There's no barrier except for I need the time to be able to do it. All right, let's see. I think with that, we should probably move on because there are a few more things I just wanted to touch. There are like 4 more little sort of tidbits I want to talk about before we get properly into Krakoa. The first one of these is this is just a personal fun one, but I didn't realize this until I know nobody wants to talk about the Krakoa era. I know nobody wants to talk about it, Andrew. It's in the stream title. I have thoughts. I do want to have some discussion on it, but I know that we are clearly avoiding it for more fun subjects. So the first more fun the second more fun subject that I want to bring up is, do you guys remember the Fantastic Four Fantastic Four cartoon from the 90s, like 1994? I didn't know this, but there is an episode called Nightmare in Green where they fight the Hulk, but it's filled with Marvel character cameos as they keep going around New York. One of them, for example, is Johnny flies the Fantasticycle past the Empire State Building, and all of the X-Men are there, and they're like, whoa, like, check that out. But this particular, I didn't know that this cameo was actually in the Walking My Dead Hamster Who Died When I Was 11 Would Be More Fun. Oh yeah, 100%, Andrew, trust me. I'm not looking forward to it, but I feel like that's when you're a hard-hitting journalist like I am, Andrew, you take these hits, you roll with these punches for the greater good. Yes, exactly, Timon. Had the same style as the Iron Man cartoon, same style as the Hulk cartoon. Corey, what is going on? Welcome back. I'm glad I could still be live while you're around to hang out. But in that Fantastic Four episode, they have a Spider-Man cameo. But it's not Spider-Man per se. Check this out. This is an actual, like, here, where's the actual shot I have of the Fantastic Four being in there? Is it up now? Yeah. So there's Johnny and a friend, like, driving the Fantasticycle. But they had a cameo from fucking Ben. Like, actual Scarlet Spider costume Ben. I don't know why he has those weird gloves. But, like, that's actually Ben Reilly. I had no idea. I was so excited when I found this out earlier today. So that was just one thing I really wanted to bring up for, it's a cool moment. It's a cool moment, and I wanted to be like, oh, this should be our last call for last minute news. But this is all of, like, 2 seconds. We don't want a 2-second last call for last minute news here. Okay. Next quick little tidbit. Let's see. Yeah, Donut says, as someone who isn't reading comics, the only thing I know about this arc of X-Men is from the Fall of X videos that randomly show up in my recommendations. Well, I will give you the breakdown on it, Donut. If you are interested at all, you can hang around. But there is stuff there is a lot to say and a lot to not say about it, I guess is the best way to describe it. Wait, who's with Johnny? It is it might be Rick. I think it might be Rick Jones is who's flying the Fantasticycle. I didn't watch the episode because I just was like, no way, is that him? No way. But yeah, I think that because it's a Hulk related episode, I'm pretty sure that's Rick. Yes, Donut brings up the Emma Frost, Tony Stark team up chemistry. We will definitely talk about that. That is, just spoiler alert, I've talked about it on the show before, but that is like my favorite bit of the entire Krakoa era. Like, we will talk about that. Now, if you guys know me, let's see here. For this next bit, I will need a visual aid, if you will. Crack this open. Crack open my mail call. Now, if you guys... Wow. You are not helping me out. And now my microphone fell over again. So... Wow, this mail call is, like, really well packaged. Impressive, but very inconvenient for trying to do things live. So, as some of you may or may not know... Oh, wow, they, like, really took care of that. So, obviously, Let me restart here. So, in with the launch of the new Ultimate Universe, I have gotten back into collecting comic books. Not a lot of them, like I'm not running out and buying everything, but there are some variants that I am picking up. There are certain series, like I am currently collecting all of Ultimate X-Men, all of Ultimate Spider-Man. Like those are books that, you know, I have on a regular pull list. Oh, regular Ultimates. And one, in my return to collecting, one of my favorite things to be collecting are the design variant covers for Marvel. Now, if you guys don't know what they are, here is my most recent mail call. And yeah, I'm going to take a minute to brag because it's my mail call. But like, you know, here's my, I'll go face. Like here's the design variant for Ultimate Spider-Man, like #1. There's your design for Black Panther #3. There's your design variant for Black Panther #1. Like they're cool because they're just they're designs. They show you what the artist was working with to make the character as an artist. It's like a cool like little insight into how they, you know, did their process. Eventually I want to have like a big frame where I display all of the Ultimate design variants because they're going to run out eventually. They're going to have to stop. But follow me here, guys. I do not understand what I'm about to show you. And if you're in Wolf server, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about. But browsing through back issues on a couple websites, I've discovered that Marvel made a particular design variant that gave me pause. And this is coming from somebody who likes these design variants, who very much wants to collect as many of them as he can get his hands on because they, again, like I just said, they speak to me. Marvel, for an issue of Mighty Thor back in like 2022, 2021, they commissioned this this cover. Let's see. I'm not even on the right screen. Click. Whoa, my Stream Deck just died. That was weird. Ta-da! A design variant cover for chemotherapy Jane Foster. Like, so there are two main things I want to sort of just the two takeaways I have with this fucking cover. Like, it is absolute. First, these design covers. So who said this right here? I know. Yeah, Timon right here. He's pointing out. Boom, like this Black Panther, he's looking like a Power Ranger here, right? Like looking like a Black Ranger. Spider-Man here got his like new suit on. You can see it, you know, him stretching, him in an action pose. Storm here, you can see like all of her new costume, how intricate her design is. These are all interesting characters. They are all visually interesting. This is just a person. And at that, it is a person dying of cancer. And so it is insane to me that you gave, you know, like you can see, I don't have really, but like, you know, on this one, you can see Peach Momoko wrote her notes like, oh, her hair is braided long because she's from a tribe. She's, you know, these represent her village and stuff. This is just like, here's a shirt, here's a scarf. Like this is not a character. Or like, it's not even like an outfit. These are just clothes. Like this is not iconic. Jane doesn't wear this all the time. It wasn't some specific chemo outfit she donned. It was just like, these are just clothes. And you made this a fucking variant cover? Like I am so genuinely, I'm not even coming from a place of anger. I am just genuinely fucking baffled that you said people are going to want this as a variant cover. People are going to pay extra money. All of these are incentive covers. They're 1 in 10 incentive covers regularly. They normally go for $10, which is about 7 or 8, like, that's like double the price of a regular comic book. And they said people are gonna want dead, dying Jane. Like it absolutely boggles my mind. And if you notice in the corner, this is a variant for the like first issue of this volume 6 of Mighty Thor. I don't. This feels like you're trying too hard. Like, we know, people didn't really like the Jane Cancer storyline. They definitely didn't like the Jane Thor storyline. And yet you still go, nah, people love it so much they're going to want a behind the scenes look at how a cancer patient gets dressed in the day. there's nothing here, yeah, exactly, volume dealer, like cheekbones sunken, like there's just nothing here that's fucking interesting or like appeals to anybody's comic book sensibilities. It just does not make any sense that you did this. And so not only does it like not make any sense, but to me the biggest fucking crime of this, like if you notice that signature down there, this cover was done by Russell fucking Dauterman, who, if you guys don't know who that is, he is, I don't know if I would say he's one of my favorite Marvel artists, but he does these absolutely incredible character costume variants for Marvel that are just so gorgeous and feel so alive with all of these characters on them. Like, here, let me pull up like do 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 da 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 da. Like, here's the variant he did for Wolverine. I love these pieces. Like, they're all super intricate, they're all super detailed, they look great, and I don't know why you would waste somebody who very clearly knows and loves like superhero fashion and their like appearances, because like this isn't the only one he's done. Where is the, oh yeah, that's the one I really like. He also did like this one. He did one for She-Hulk and it looks great. Like he clearly is the man you go to for like costumes and different appearances, and you gave him the worst subject possible. You gave him, like, I'm looking at this right here, right? And like, what do I see? I see, oh, my cursor doesn't show up on that screen, but like all of the gens, they have different hairstyles. They all have very clearly like different cuts and fits to their outfits, but they all look distinctly different. They're all feminine. They're all stylish. That is not what you see there. Like, I just, yeah, exactly, right, volume dealer, those are great, and instead we have this. Like it is just so, I'm just stunned. Like, I really walk away from this just going, like, I don't know what to say. It's just, it's been on my mind all week, because I came upon it, and I was just like, I feel like I'm being pranked. I felt like I was being pranked, and then I looked at the price tag for like $10, and I was like, I'm definitely like being pranked. There's just nothing here. Yeah, and so Andrew says, like, this cover only makes sense if they released it during Breast Cancer Awareness Month and gave all the proceeds to breast cancer research and treatment, right? Like, that would make sense if it was a very specific, like, we are doing this for charity, and it is a cancer charity, and that's what, like, yeah, no problems there. But it's the fact that they're going, like, our casual mass market fans, this is the shit they show up for. Cancer Jane. Let's sell this as a variant. It boggles the mind. It, like, I have nothing more to say here but then just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Side note, before we move on, it is and I wish Fletcher was still here, because he also had an answer to this, because we were talking about comic book shops and hobby shops. But speaking of like variant cover comic books, and yes, I just hit myself in the eye with my Black Panther. Oh, that sounded very risque. But so when I was like 16, and I was very hardcore into reading comics and collecting comic books. So that was like the House of X, the Civil War, the Infinite Crisis era, like, pardon me. In those days, they made variant covers, but I feel like variant covers back then were very, very exclusive, and every single one of them was like, here's a variant cover, but if you want that, you're at least paying 30 or 40 or 50, because they're going to be on the shelf behind the counter at the comic book shop. But now you can just like order them. You can just be like, oh yeah, I want that variant, and you'll get them. Like, they'll probably sell, if you don't pre-order them, they might sell out, but they're still freely available. And I just bring that up because I think it's better this way. Like, I'm very much a fan of this change, but it was just something where I was like, huh, you know, what are those few times where like the good old times were not really those good old times. Couldn't they have her in a wheelchair? They love, yeah, Marvel loves, why isn't she in a wheelchair? Marvel loves showing everybody in their wheelchairs. The new Sentry is in a wheelchair. Like, why are we missing this opportunity? How can we really, really drive home the fact that we're so super progressive if we don't have that ready and willing for us? All right. So, with that quick little detour, also another detour, just wanted to shout it out because it makes me aesthetically horny, if you will. Gotta get in here. I don't know how many of you guys saw this. I know Andrew definitely did, and if you're in his server, you saw it as well. But on the subject of variant covers, that one was lame, but this is super cool. Chichetto is continuing his variant costume set for Ultimate Spider-Man. He did the first 4, which were regular spider suit, 2099 symbiote, and Ben's actual Spider-Man suit. That was like the first print run of Ultimate Spider-Man. Now he did a Scarlet Spider variant for the 6th reprint of #1, and now the 3rd reprint of #3 is getting this awesome Superior Spider-Man variant. I just think it's really cool. Again, highlight the things we love. We got to bring attention to them. So you've got me, Marvel. Again, this is one of those situations we were talking about. Like, Marvel's got me by the stones because they're finally putting out something that people want to buy. But speaking of Marvel and things people want to buy, it is, yeah, we are 2 hours into our stream. Let's see. Yeah, Marvel loves giving cancer to superheroes' girlfriends. I believe there's a little series called Spider-Man Reign that definitely fleshes that out. But I think with that, it's finally time to get into our main subject for the night, which, as you could tell by probably all of the branding that was happening on this show, as well as the fun special intro. Reeve says, you say aesthetically horny, but Jubilee is right there on screen. She wasn't until I brought this up, but yes, that's one of the brandings I put on this week's show is our stream buddy is another Jubilee shot. Derek Chew's variant from Fall of X #4. It is one of those variants that like just keeps staring me in the face. It's good. It's great. I love my girl Jubilee. I can't say no to it. You caught me red-handed, Reeve. But on the subject of mutants and Jubilee and Marvel and variants and what they're actually selling and do people actually want to read it, let's have a quick, let's finally talk about Krakoa. Let's finally get into this era of X-Men. So obviously we as Andrew pointed out, there are a lot of things to say about Krakoa. We're obviously not going to sit down and do a beat by beat breakdown of it because this is again a 5-year publishing initiative that just wrapped up with tons of books, which like even if like there are a lot of books even if you're just reading the core stuff, but if you're reading all of the awful like C. Spurrier, Vita Ayala tie-in books, then there's just way more massive stuff. So obviously we're not going to hit everything, but I want to talk just generally about it, sort of reflect on it, and then highlight my highs for Krakoa, my lows for Krakoa. Volume Dealer says, I remember when Logan found Jubilee in the comics, she was like 14. Did they age her up? She's grown up since then. They didn't necessarily age her up. She's one of those rare characters that's been allowed to grow up. So she's about like, I think she's like 21 at this point, or like 20. At least that's around the age she was when, gosh, what was that event? Mutant Massacre, the last vampire event for the X-Men happened back in like 2007. And when Jubilee got her stupid vampire powers, that's what she was back then. I don't know what they currently have her at, but yeah, she is one of those ones they've allowed to grow because I think they realized like there's some appeal to her. People want to see this character, and we can't have a 14-year-old be a 14-year-old perpetually forever. So, where to begin with Krakoa? Oh, I want to brag about this actually. gotta go through my long box really quick to find it. There it is. So, this is just something like I want to keep bragging about because this is like an insane get for me. So there's a chain of secondhand retail stores here in Arizona that I frequent because obviously just check out what they have all the time, books, video games, yada yada, but they also have really good comic book offerings. Like they have entire shelves of like 50-cent comic books, and they're not bad selections. Like I went the other week and I got most of the Marvel Mangaverse for like 50 cents. I got a first printing of Grant Morrison's Multiversity Guidebook for $1. I got a first printing of the first Rick Remender Uncanny Avengers series for 50 cents. Like this place is really good. But I managed to snag last week this variant Virgin cover to House of X #1, which kicks off. This is the official kickoff of Krakoa. $6. It has a little, not even like, it's not even noticeable, like a little like catch on its corner, but these things sell easily for $40. So I'm just like, absolute steal. I'm just like completely stoked on it. So it was just relevant because it's Marvel or because it's Krakoa, but take it from the top. All right. So in 2019, the Krakoa era began for Marvel. Now, what this era was like we've seen before, it was a new era for the X-Men. They were going to try something new, which in reality, this has been literally done hundreds of times before. Like, oh, let's give mutants their own nation. Oh, never mind, it all went wrong. We saw it with like Asteroid M. We saw it with Utopia. We saw it with Genosha. And now we've seen it with Krakoa. For all they were saying, oh, this is a brand new line, it was far sort of from it. Now, what the basic premise of Krakoa was the mutant island nation of Krakoa, that if you guys the island nation of Krakoa, if you guys remember, that was the big bad boogeyman that back in Giant Size X-Men #1, it captured the original X-Men, and that caused Professor X to recruit the new team, which was like Nightcrawler, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, like the uncanny team, if you will. So, one sec. So it was revealed that island wasn't just a big bad monster; it was a mutant, and all of mutanity, I don't know how mutantdom probably. They decided, after years of persecution, we are going to work with Krakoa and establish a mutant nation, right? A completely independent island off the coast of the states where all mutants can come and they can live. They have amnesty. We're gonna have our own laws. We're gonna have our own language. Like, just leave us alone, and we want to, we'll be diplomats to you. They were sort of leaning into, that mutant existence, that nation state sort of thing. And in doing so, like I said, they offered amnesty to all mutants. They invited everybody in. So you started inviting people in like Apocalypse, like Magneto, like Sabretooth and Mystique and Destiny. So it was a very radical status change, or not status change, or what am I trying to say? It was a very radical new concept for the X books, if you will. A complete amnesty for everybody. We're starting over from zero. We're going to give this... It did feel... I will admit that at the very start of this, it felt like if they had tried this all before, this was the time that they were going to try it, and they were going to, put their effort into it. Like, they were going to make it happen. It felt different. Now, to that point, sort of, if you guys go back and you read the beginning of Krakoa and you see how they established it, right? They reveal, in the very early days of Krakoa, when they reveal themselves to the world, they are straight up saying, we are your new gods. There is a panel in this same issue here of House of X #1. Let me find it. Scrolling. It's near the end, so I'm just gonna go from the bottom up. Oh, I was already there. Yeah, here it is. So there's this entire so like they establish this new nation state and they say all mutants live here. Your laws don't apply to us. Also, we have all of these drugs thanks to Krakoa's biology and flora that can cure like cancer and disease, and we're going to start giving it to everybody, but only if you play by our rules. And then, you know, there was this straight up moment here from Magneto where he brought all of these ambassadors from around the world to Jerusalem to straight up, you know, symbolically tell them like, we're your gods now. So here's where I think things sort of went off the rails. Here's my reading of what this was all supposed to be. As we might know, this run is, or this entire arc was like orchestrated and kicked off by none other than Jonathan Hickman. You know, Ultimate Spider-Man writer, Ultimate Comics Ultimate writer, which, side note, guys, I've been reading his Ultimate Comics stuff. Like, he was somehow able to recover the Ultimate Comics line from Ultimatum and like Gay Vampire Hulk. Like, it is absolutely insane how talented this man can be when he's not going full Hickman. And we'll get into that because full Hickman will be whatchamacallit, will be a subject to discuss. It'll be relevant, if you will. So Hickman, if you guys have read any of his previous work, you know that he sort of works on higher level, like big picture concepts, right? Like, he likes to speak cosmically. He likes to explore magic. Like, he has these high ideas that are actually, for the most part, really, really interesting. I will always point to the example of the Maker in the Ultimate Universe and his creation of the Children of Tomorrow, who were born and bred in a time capsule city to be the next evolutionary step and think better. Like, there are just things like that Hickman is really good at. But then there are times where he goes full Hickman. And those are the moments where I don't know if you guys have been reading the miniseries Gods, but there are times when Hickman's ideas, he sort of feels like they get so grand and they're so big that nobody could really follow them. And when he hits full Hickman, he tends to not only lose a lot of readers, but his ideas then start to crumble, or they start to, pardon me, they start to lose that strong sell, right? Like, if you're reading a Hickman book and you're like, okay, oh, this is really good, really good, really good, wow, and then he goes full Hickman, you go, all right, what am I doing here now? What now? I'm taken out of what we were talking about, and I have to think about, like, let me reread this page like 90 times. So to that point, knowing that full Hickman exists and that that's sort of where his mind tends to travel, my hypothesis, my thesis statement for this next bit is that when it came to Krakoa, I think the initial idea under Jonathan Hickman, his original ideas were very, very, very fantastic and had a lot of meat to them. But it's what happens that's what happens when Hickman's own is allowed to have his own ideas. If they fall apart like that under his own control, just sort of imagine what happens when he's taken out of the driver's seat. And I think that's where we get into what went wrong with Krakoa. Now, I know this is going to be a sort of controversial beat. Not everybody likes this, but like, I bring up this specific page because I think this page really sells what Hickman was going with Krakoa, right? Here you have these 5 mutants all revived through completely weird, new, unnatural means. They're literally birthed out of egg sacs into, they're born at Xavier's feet. He's standing over them, sort of like he controls them. He is their master. Like, to me, my X-Men. This, to me, is what I think Hickman was going for. The fact that if mutants were to make a genuine nation state, like an ethnic nation state, it would be terrifying. And the men who would need to be in charge of that would be terrifying in their ideas, terrifying in the means they would be going to achieve that. You sort of see this in the very beginning with Magneto straight up threatening, like, we're your gods now. No longer are they trying to coexist like Xavier wanted, but now they're straight up saying, we're in charge now. when the Quiet Council gets formed on Krakoa, instead of, being composed of the X-Men or, X Factor adjacent, whatever, you get Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, but you get Exodus, you get Apocalypse, you get Mystique. You clearly see the heroes throwing in with the wolves. So to me, I think this entire arc is supposed to sort of explore what is the actual real implication of a mutant nation state. Like, what would that actually mean if a people went out and said, we don't listen to you anymore, and by the way, we're all walking nuclear like reactors who could explode at any minute and explode willingly, right? Like, it is a very terrifying concept. And then when you bring in things like the ability to regenerate life endlessly, the ability to exist 5,000 billions of years in the future, I think what does that mean for evolution and existence and the continual battle between humans and mutants that we see in the Marvel universe? I think that's what Jonathan Hickman was going for, especially he goes full Hickman. He definitely does with his Dominion far future stuff about how machine intelligences and all that stuff. But I think things like revealing Moira is a mutant that can continually relive her lives and always tries to find a different outcome, I think that is an insanely interesting idea there. I think turning all mutants into like one side and then uniting them against the world, but sort of not in a persecution sense, but in a we're now on your equal playing field sense, I think there's something there. I know that this is a very controversial read of everything, but I think this idea of Xavier slowly turning into more of this cultish leader, but doing so because he still genuinely thinks he is doing the right thing. Like, Xavier still sees himself as the actual, like, pure hero. It's not one of those, like, oh, I'm a hero, like, yeah, I'm a villain by society standards, but I'm actually a hero type of thing. Like, it's not at that. He genuinely thinks everything he's doing will work now. So I think that creepy sort of villain turn really does work for Xavier, especially if you sort of just look at the implications of his history as we've been dealt, right? Like, obviously, if I'd have been in charge of his entire character, there are changes I would have made throughout the years. But if you look just generally at what we've gotten, and again, I am reading current, like, Marvel canon with this, guys. Xavier straight up recruited, like, he made he opened a school, but then he made a bunch of like superheroes, and then he continually kept throwing him into the fray, and you see him going out into space, and everything he does are just these big machinations because he always thinks he knows what he's going to do next is the right move. Like, again, it comes from a pure place, and that's what I think is so scary about it. And that is what I think, there is something so interesting to explore in all of this, the creepy factor, the what does it mean to be actual living gods, like everything I've sort of just detailed. I think that's what Hickman was truly really setting up here with the Krakoa era. And I think when you read at least the initial House of X, Powers of X, and then like X-Men series, I think you definitely get that read that that's what he's going for. And for the most part, I think in those three series, it really works. The idea of Krakoa as this place that should seem so harmonious, but actually holds like a really deep reality underneath, like the sheen. That's the sort of deep writing that Hickman gives us, that he's really, really, really good at. And so I genuinely think 5 years ago, that's what he was setting up. X gonna give it to you. Hell yeah, DMX. Hey, when I die, Jacob, make sure I am in one of those big ass monster trucks and it's hitting the hydraulics like it was when DMX went. So where I think now that's my compliments to this. I think the setup, the original stories, like that all worked and you could see what he was building towards. What went wrong is what is very characteristic of like Western comics, is that once the idea got out of Hickman's hands, all of that subtlety, all of that what do you call it, like in introspection and everything of the concept, that went out the window for the very, very stupid ass idea of, ooh woo, all of my persecuted favorites, now they have a nation, like they have a place to live away from persecution. It's going to be a lovely, awesome place, and it's great because they're mutants. Like, you know, they very much went neoliberal, for, I hate using the term, but like social justice with the concept of Hickman's X-Men. No longer, you know, once you started getting into like Vita Ayala writing that Children of the Atom series, where you had literal like younger copies of the O 05 or like of the X-Men, because there's like a girl who's pretending to be Gambit. Like, once you get to those books, you start get it, all of this creep factor, all of this, like, this is actually deeply disturbing and bad and it could be like potentially scary. That's all thrown out of the window for, oh, let's use, you know, for that very, very stupid forced analogy that they love to use of mutants are minorities. So to them, they stopped looking at mutants as like that fictional walking power source, and more as like, oh, that means they're supposed to be black people. So yeah, of course black people should have their own place away from you know, those evil white men who hate them so much. And so once that came into play and they started treating Krakoa like something genuinely good, I think that's where a lot of like main readers like myself, like Andrew, like that's where we start going, what the hell are you doing? Because then you start getting a lot of like, you know, the mutant amnesty starts getting used for, instead of using it as a framing device for like, look at how the justice systems will work even under the best of intentions. Now it's just like, oh yeah, everybody gets a free pass for every bad thing they've done. We don't really care if, you know, all oopsies, you're a mutant, but you're fine. Like, the idea got so warped and flanderized that it completely lost all bite that it had. And that's where we started getting things like the Hellfire Gala. That's where we started, you know, I believe that first Hellfire Gala, the idea, the concept of introducing it as the X-Men doing this diplomatic thing is smart if you're doing Hickman's idea that this is supposed to be deeply unnerving. When you look at the Hellfire Gala costumes, right? Yes, they're extravagant high fashion, but they're odd. They're weird. They feel foreign and alien, like they are truly different gods coming down like to our level to grace us with their presence. And I think that works there. But if you take that idea and you go, oh, no, they're actually just celebrities. They're like, isn't it so cool that they're dressed like this? Like, this is something you should celebrate. That's where everybody goes, that doesn't work. Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense. Like, what actually are you talking about? So at the end of all of this, like, if you read X-Men number 35, which is where all of this ended last week, the way Hickman wraps it up is he turns Krakoa during the fall of X was basically, and I'm skipping a lot here, giving a very condensed like rundown. If you want to know more, hit Wikipedia, hit the Marvel Wiki, hit me up on Twitter, I will tell you. But basically, Krakoa during the assault by Orchis at the end of all of this, when humanity went on full attack against the mutants, they were able to teleport most of the mutants, like the non-combatant mutants, the non-X-Men, and a chunk of Krakoa into the white hot room and kept it outside of time and space. And in X-Men number 35, that piece of Krakoa comes back, and you get this it's revealed that time passed differently for them, so they're all older, and you see sort of the post, like what happens when they take they took the lessons that everybody on Krakoa taught and went, you guys did it like not exactly right, so we're going to take our own path and show you this is how you actually achieve those goals. Like, and then Krakoa sort of twinkles out into its own sort of dimension. It makes sense. I know it sounds whack, but it makes sense in the context of the story, and it works. It puts a really good end cap on just that high concept idea of Hickman's. And so, like, at the end of it all, you can see just, I have to give all of the blame for just how bad this eventually spiked onto, like, everybody kind of but Hickman and, like, Pepe Larraz and the core creative team behind it. Because again, it is not the main books that are really the issue. It is genuinely all the stuff they do in the side books with all the teenage mutants, with all of the outcast mutants, if you will, like using the allegory of mutants as persecuted and ooh so soft and need to be protected doesn't work when you have a place that you literally have free access to that cures all disease, lets you live there for free, provides you everything, and is surrounded and protected 24/7 by fucking like Wolverine, by Exodus, by Magneto. Like the analogies don't work. And so when they do that, it just becomes more, we all go, hey, that's clearly not the story that's being told there. And they go, yes, but no, it is. My ideas. And because we then have to go, okay, fine, whatever, that's canon now. Everything just like falls apart and the narrative gets muddy, and whatever message Hickman was originally going for with all of this is lost. So like at the end of it all, I think like my final rating comment on Krakoa is like 7, overall, like under Hickman, I think this stuff reaches the level of 9 out of 10. I think like under Hickman, this could have, if he fully had control of this forever up until now, like if he had the full run under his like direction, we would have gotten something for the ages. I mean, there are still parts of it I think are for the ages, but overall, because Marvel is fucking Marvel, we end up getting just this very immature, directionless exploration of what if mutants have a nation. And we've seen that before. Like I said at the top, we've seen Genosha, Asteroid M, Utopia. The idea of what if mutants have their own place has been done. It's not special. But the exploration of what does it truly, actually, terrifyingly mean for all mutants to have a nation, like an ethnic nation state, that's something that hadn't really, like, truly, like, what's the right word? Tactfully been explored. Like, you've had it where the opponents of that idea are very strawman. They're like the Reavers, right? Like, they're intentionally over the top caricatures of racists. So the message doesn't really get explored so much as it gets like confirmed. This explores the message. Like Krakoa explores the message. And I just, yeah. Under Hickman, a solid 8 for things like House of X, Powers of X. Under everybody else, easy 3. Easy 3 out of 10. There are moments that are highlights, but but that's just it. They are for the most part highlights. And so, yeah, I think if you are interested in the X-Men at all or in this era, you read the beginning, and then you read maybe the stuff that's directly under Hickman's control and all the like major event books, and that's about it. I think if you do that, you get a very, very solid, amazing story that if it, like, honestly, if it wasn't in main continuity, if this was like Ultimate X-Men, I think everybody would be raving about it. But because it overwrote the established sort of canon of what we know about the X-Men and the 616, I think that's where a lot of the prickliness among fans comes from. Again, they're not wrong to not, want their characters changed like this and treated like this. They're absolutely not. There are things during this run that I fucking hate. I will highlight it right now. They took Beast and made him from your ever level furry, scientist trying to always hope and be on your side to genocidal mutant terrorist who will do anything to protect like Krakoa. If you're a Beast fan, and I know there's a lot of him because he was an Avenger. He was a straight up Avenger for the in the 70s and 80s. I can't imagine how you guys Beast fans probably feel how I feel about Ben becoming Chasm. Like, those are the sort of stupid things that definitely exist there. And again, if that had been Ultimate, and we hadn't had years and years of established continuity in the 616 of Beast being a loving guy, I think something could be done there. But I think that you undercut yourself when you try to make such a major change to that big and that important of a character. Like, it's it's a swing that you're just better not you're better off not taking, or you're better off taking in an Elseworlds type of story, right? So to that point about the fact that, you know, I do like, or I do hate some things, and I do like some things from Krakoa, I went and I made this sort of very, so I made this the other night. I went onto Tier Maker and I said, let me rank sort of everything from Krakoa, and we can talk about it. Unfortunately, as I went down and I looked at the list, I didn't read a lot of this stuff because, like I told you guys, a lot of this stuff is outside of Hickman's hands. Like, I don't care about the New Mutants. I don't care about X-Corps. I don't care about Captain Britain, especially when they're written by people like Vita Ayala. Like, they're just not quality books, so I never checked them out. So instead of trying to rank everything and say, like, these were the good of all Krakoa, I decided I was just going to highlight my personal highs and my personal lows from out this entire sort of run. And you can sort of see, like, that's literally what I did up here: personal highs, personal lows. So we'll start with the highs, right? Because it's always more fun to talk about the things we like. And, man, I should probably rearrange this because that'll make it easier to talk about. There we go. Let's arrange it like that. So obviously, as I just got done detailing, or pause real quick, Volume Dealer saying the Reavers and Marauders were great teams. The Reavers were like cyborg Mad Max villains. Oh yeah, no, I love them. Like, I love those villains and stuff. But if you're trying to use them as like a way to explore what actual prejudice means, you can't really use them because they're all so on the nose racist, right? Like, that's the point. I'm not criticizing that, but that's what their characters are. You just have to recognize what character works for what story, right? Like, you don't use you don't use like Power Girl for a super hardcore nitty gritty story about people getting like raped and assaulted and human trafficked. And you don't use somebody like Batman for a story, or okay, Batman's a bad example because you can use them for anything, but you don't use somebody like I don't even know anymore. God, I hate that I'm using her as an example, but you don't use Batwoman for a story about like volunteering at school and helping a kid find her like lost like lunch bag. Like you have to just understand where your like whatchamacallit, what you're working with, make sure it all works together. Just like it's like cooking. You don't randomly just throw in random ingredients and say hit it. You make sure everything works together with the dish you're serving, the spices you're using, the intention of your meal. Are you making breakfast? Are you making a snack? Are you entertaining a lot of people? You know, a lover? Like, there's all these things that you have to think about in these processes. You can't just throw it all together. And yes, Donut, whoa, is that Nightcrawler as Spider-Man? Now that sounds interesting. Yeah, like, so let's that is Nightcrawler as Spider-Man, and let's get into it. So clearly you can see that in my highs, these first three entries are House of X, Powers of X, and X-Men, like I was just breaking down. Those are the core Hickman books. That's where his, like, he really gets to experiment with stuff, and it gets really, really interesting, exploring what it means to be an X-Man, a mutant, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. Following that, oh man, hold on, there's another book where, there it is, this one. I need to add this because we need to talk about it because it's so good. But you'll notice here that after those three books is Invincible Iron Man. Now, I think Donut was the one who hinted at it earlier in the chat, but this run sort of involves Tony being, his tech is all taken out from under him by hostile takeovers by Orchis, which is the anti-mutant organization at the core of this entire arc. And they start using his technology to build sentinels to hunt mutants. So you get like giant sentinels armed with Iron Man tech. Of course, Tony's not standing for that, so he works alongside Emma fucking Frost, who takes on a disguise. They go into the Hellfire Club and they start working behind the scenes to, you know, destroy Orchis' weapon distribution, manufacturing, all that stuff, and you know, do what they can to help the mutants. So I like this. I personally highlight this book because I think it was I think the situations where Tony realistically is fighting on the back foot are the better ones. And I don't like just like, oh, your suit shut down, blah, blah, blah. But things like Iron Man 3, I'm one of the few people who really like that. I think having him have to sneak around and keep pretending for the paparazzi that he's drunk and marrying some random woman who turns out to be Emma Frost in disguise is like, he's doing that to make sure that they don't notice that at night he's sneaking off to work. He uses the marriage as a cover to, oh, it's midnight, I'm taking my new beautiful wife out yachting, haha, I'm a billionaire. But then they get out into the waters and they go underneath deck and there's a whole Iron Man lab that he's building new suits for. So it's a good piece of like intrigue. It's not anything that's going to blow you away, but it is fun. Like, it is a good time. There is a good time to be had by all when you read Invincible Iron Man. Plus, it also has this page, which I don't know if you guys have been around, but this is Emma in her disguise as Iron Man's wife, Hazel, going diamond to help him refract the repulsor beams. And as I've said on this show multiple times, I don't know what it is about this fucking shot, but this is like the sexiest, like most beautiful, gorgeous, like my man brain goes primal. I break. Did you just see like that stutter? I don't know what else to say about this shot other than just like let my jaw drop. If somebody could get me, like, if you guys ever see this original art go up for sale, I send it my way. I will spend probably unhealthy amounts of money to acquire it, because it is just from the like, not only is it the Emma in like that pose and the shine on her, but like the way the beams are shooting off, the way it's refracting, it is insanely, like, I can't get over this panel. Like, it haunts my dreams of just like eroticism. Like, this is beauty. Yeah, exactly, Donut. I agree. This panel and Emma's disguise in general are just neuron activate. Exactly. Like, it just, monkey brain goes like, ooh, 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 ata. Yeah, blasting in curves makes sense why it's amazing, right? So, again, I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan in general, but I think this was a super solid run. It is a good side story. And yeah, in the context of Krakoa, a lot of fun. Yeah, there you go, Donut. You're hitting it too. Sexiness aside, this panel is also really neat. Having the beam reflect off is really creative. Yeah, I think that's cool too. And I love this, how she's sort of able to direct the refraction a little bit, like how, like, by moving her fingertips. I talk about it a lot on this show and in general, but when it comes to fights in media, I prefer fights to be won by strategy, like use of technique, rather than just overpowering somebody. Just like, there's the shonen trope of, oh, I'm stronger than you now I just beat you with a punch. As much as I love the series, that's sort of what happened with Dragon Ball in the Buu saga, right? Like, oh, I'm stronger, now I beat you. Well, now I'm stronger, now I beat you. Well, I'm stronger, now I beat you. Well, now I'm the strongest, so I beat you. There was not a lot of like strategy to Goku and Vegeta and everybody fighting Buu. But you watch something like JoJo, where they're like, aha, see, I had to fire, like, I had to throw, I had to spit that way so it would ping off the wall, and then it would make a puddle that I could look into, and by looking into that, blah, 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 like, that's the kind of stuff I love. And that's what you're sort of seeing, is they're being attacked by these, like, animal mutant things, but instead of just going, oh, I've got a beam, boom, they do, like, an interesting move that's like, yeah, that would make sense. So, I really, really like, just this entire page is just the best. But there is a lot of good stuff to be had in this volume. I say that as like a casual Iron Man fan. I don't know how hardcore dedicated Iron Man fans felt about this run, but I think for somebody that Marvel, they don't or like they overuse him to the point where it's really hard to give him a good unique story, just because everybody is throwing out things all the time. So it's like, what are we going to do this month? Another story about his suit being stolen? Fuck, okay, go. So, but I think this was like a good use of all of sort of his personality. So yes, read Invincible Iron Man at the very least. Somebody get on the horn, and who even did this page? I don't know, but we'll find out get them to make this like a print, make it like a foil cover, do something, because when I die, put this like in my coffin, like put this page above my coffin. Like I just want to die looking at this page. Okay, so from there we then move into the two books that I would say are the most independently solid of everything, which are Benjamin Percy's runs on Wolverine and X-Force. They're not anything that's going to blow you away or redefine the characters per se, but what you get out of both X-Force and Wolverine are insanely solid adventures. Like, they are just good time. They are a good solid, and I mean this, like 7-8 adventures where like, it's not the blowaway series. This isn't your Powers of X or House of X. You don't need to rush out and like, it's not making a giant statement. But if you read all 50 issues of Wolverine, you'll walk away being like, that was a solid ass time. They even introduce a really fun like new character to his like ally gallery in the form of Jeff Bannister, who's like an FBI agent who feeds him information about what they're doing to the mutants, while the Wolverine like helps him out and tells the states what the mutants might be up to. Like, and they have like a really good like bro friendship, both realizing like, yeah, the world sucks, but we both have like clandestine jobs, and it might not be the easiest, but hey, let's kick back and have a beer. And so Wolverine overall solid. X-Force is very much in the same way, where it's a very solid exploration of what X-Force is supposed to be. There's a really, really interesting arc throughout all of it where Colossus is on the team, but you learn he's being secretly manipulated by his brother from like in Russia. So he's like a sleeper agent and he doesn't even know it, but, or like he does know it, but he's not allowed under the like commands. He's not allowed to like tell anybody. So the only way Colossus can really like express himself is by like painting all of his like crimes and these insane paintings of like his inner turmoil. And again, something interesting to explore there. And I like the lineup for X-Force they have here. They had, Domino, Quentin Quire, Deadpool, Black Tom. I might be a little biased because he's one of my favorite like X characters, but they had Omega Red, which I'm always like happy to see him around. So very, very solid run. Just same recommendation as Wolverine. Not going to redefine the run or the characters, but you will have a lot of fun reading that story. The problem with both of these books, however, these books both have the same problem. And it's a major one, which is near the end of their runs, they both devolve into very just sort of ridiculous stories that sort of shoot its own solid middle of the road, really, really good status, like their identities as those solid things in the foot, like really hard. So in Wolverine, the last few issues of the book end with Sabretooth War, which is this event where multiverse versions of Sabretooth all team up to try and kill Wolverine. And it's just like, they tried to sell it as this big, big event, and it's just like, it's kind of lame. Like, we know it's Sabretooth versus Wolverine, and you're just bringing in multiverse people. Like, I don't know, this is really stupid. So Wolverine kind of peters out at the very end. X-Force has the same problem, but its arc is what I was talking about earlier with Beast. X-Force is the book where Beast completely loses everything and goes off the deep end and just becomes mutant terrorist #1. So read them, but also know that once you get to the very last arcs on them, you're probably going to just be going, oh, you lost me. And then finally, as Donut brought up, the final high for Krakoa for me was Uncanny Spider-Man. So the premise of that book, it was like a 5-issue miniseries where in the end days of Krakoa, Nightcrawler decided like he needed to get out of Krakoa and go explore himself and sort of, get away from mutants, find out, like, redefine for himself what it means to be a hero, a mutant, yada, 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 yada. To do that, he goes and he takes he hangs out, or he like goes to Spider-Man and says, hey man, what can you help me out? And Pete gives him a Spider-Man suit. And so Nightcrawler goes around for these 5 issues sort of fighting crime in New York while also exploring what it means to be a mutant. He has a budding romance with like Silver Sable. It is a really, it's just like it's a fun miniseries. Like it is a fun adventure. It all of the writing is like absolutely excellent in that book. Like I had every page I flip and I'm just like, that's a good line. That's a good line. Ooh, that's a good way to do that. Oh yes, that's amazing. So all in all, a very, very fun adventure. You kind of don't even really need to read the rest of any Krakoa thing to get something out of this book. The only thing that sort of bummed me out about it is it turned out that rather than being a vehicle for sort of just like a good solid story, they wanted to use it as a vehicle for, revealing that Destiny and Mystique are Nightcrawler's biological parents. And while I know a lot of people got up and, a lot of people got up in arms because they're, oh, two women having a baby and, they wanted to get all up on that. I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. You guys know me. I'm more on that, it's science fiction. Go for it. But what made me really like, not angry, but like it felt so cynical to me was you had this 5-issue run for Uncanny Spider-Man, and then in the very middle of it, they go, oh, by the way, go check out this special that's coming out to learn what's going on with Mystique and Nightcrawler. And they didn't need to. They could have just made that the next issue of the book, because that special is just like everything in the back of that special is just reprints. So it's like, why I just got this bad feeling in my mouth where I was like, you guys are nickel and diming the people who are actually still reading this stuff, because you don't need to make them go buy a separate book when they're already buying this book. You could have just made it this book. It didn't sit right with me, but overall, really, really fun book. Lots of fun character work. Solid recommendation. I hope to see more of that Nightcrawler spider outfit. It's a really cool design. We unfortunately haven't gotten a DLC edition or anything in Marvel Spider-Man. We haven't seen it get a figure yet, but hopefully someday it does. Now we go into the lows. Now, as a whole, like I said earlier on, most of the stuff that isn't under Hickman is kind of crap, especially when it leans really heavy into that mutants are oh so persecuted and oh everything they do they're so soft small, protect them, ooh woo. When you lean into that, that's when everything starts going bad. But rather than just throw everything on here, I wanted to highlight my worst of the fucking worst out of all of this. So as you can sort of see, I'm going to move this just so we can talk about it. The two series I hated the most out of all of this run were the Marauders. I don't know why. It was just the concept of like X-Men pirates should have been cool. Especially like, look at that team. You've got Pyro, you've got Bishop, you've got Emma, you've got Sebastian Shaw, and it just became so boring. It just became like feelings, talk about our feelings, the book. And it was just like, you guys wasted all of these characters and all of this potential for nothing. It is just such a boring ass book set of books that I'm just like, done. Forget the Marauders, want nothing to do here. The next book, Children of the Atom, is that one that I was talking about where the premise is like, oh, look, they're all of a sudden younger versions young versions of the core X-Men have popped up. What's going on? And this book, written by Vita Ayala, this is that book. This is the patient zero of, oh, we're going to move away from the creepy Krakoa idea to this is actually all super really good and everybody should love it idea. This is the book that treats Krakoa and its concept as inherently what we should be doing as humanity, and if you disagree, you're a giant bigot. It misses the entire point. It is activism, the book, and it is just not worth your time. These characters, and that's not even me. These characters have appeared one more time since this book, and that's it. And you know where they appeared? They appeared in the fucking Dark Web crossover, where they turned, where Ben was Chasm. That was the first event where Ben was Chasm, because he was stuck in Madeline Pryor's limbo embassy, jail thing, right? This book was dumb, it was useless, and it is so representative of just Marvel activist storytelling. Just do not do anything with it. Bishop War College, this one is super easy for me to de-recommend, and that this book is essentially Bishop goes to another Earth where everybody is black, and he teaches the all-black X-Men how to fight. And it is just full of the most like embarrassing character designs, embarrassing tropes. Like it just feels. This is one of those books that it feels like when it was being written, its writer was going like, yeah, I'll own you, chuds. Like you take that. Like oh yeah, like I got this. It is just. It was bad, and it's one of those, like, to me, it's on the level of What If Miles Was Thor. Like, it just feels like a bad caricature, and it's just, it's not good. It's good if you want to look at it for a laugh at all the designs, go for it. If you see an X-Men article on Bounding lately, it's probably got images from it, because I love referring to it, because it's so awful. But yeah, definite low point was Bishop War College. Thankfully, a miniseries that, because it was in the multiverse, didn't really have an effect on anything, but it's just a matter of time before they bring back like their version of Beast who has all the dreads. Like there was nothing good to take away from there. Judgment Day is on here as one of my personal lows. That was the event where it was the crossover between the X-Men, the Avengers, and the Eternals. And the reason it's here so I felt the need to like personally call it out is because this was so transparently like a marketing effort to make the Eternals cool, like that it's the only thing that can seep out through this. Like when you're reading it, you're just like, I know what you guys are doing. Like you guys are trying to make the Eternals cool, and it's not working. Like this came out after the movie, and it's just like, it's not working. Stop trying so hard. This is one of those. Judgment Day felt like Civil War 2 to me, where it was one of those events where editorial thought it would have been like gangbusters, and they saw the synergy, but when it finally came to execution, it was just not fucking there. It was just really, really bad, really boring, and really transparent. So there is not a lot in Judgment Day. Like I can't even think of like a singular issue or moment from Judgment Day where I'm like, that was really, really cool. Like let's I can at least highlight that. Like all of it was bad. All of it was just so entirely useless. And yeah, that's why it gets my ranking there. X-Men Green, if you guys do not remember, the reason this ranks so low is because this was probably even more so than Children of the Atom. This was the representative of like, oh yeah, I'm going to use the X-Men as a mouthpiece and not really think about the implications of what I'm endorsing and everything. Because if you guys remember, this is the series that saw Earth Girl, who you can see there with the antlers. This is the one where she decided out of fucking nowhere, after a plastic bag washed up on the beach on Krakoa, to teleport into San Francisco and just fucking murder like a store clerk and just start killing people and becoming an eco-terrorist. And before they went, oh, let's... Like, there was a solid singular time at the beginning of this idea of X-Men Green where she was being framed as being in the right. Like, everybody was supposed to go like, yeah, you show that eagle, that mean polluter. Like, you show him. But, so, like, that intention behind the book, combined with just the absolute batshit, like, premise of X-Man decides or, like, just randomly eco-terrorizing after being raised on Krakoa. Again, they don't even like make it a good twist. There was nobody who led her into it or some radicalizing event. It was a plastic bag washed up on the beach. And like, look, I know pollution sucks. Like I'm a conservationist. Like I get it, but I don't like just go randomly stab a Ralph's clerk because a Ralph's bag washes up on the beach. There's other ways to go about it. And it's just insane that was a premise that they tried to use for arguably a hero. So that gets X-Men Green my lowest spot. And now X-Men Red is here, not specifically for the series itself, because the series itself is actually kind of fine for what it is, but I wanted to take this last bit to really criticize what X-Men Red is like its subject matter, and that's the the Mars mutants, the Araco mutants that Hickman introduced. So long story short, in this whole, Krakoa mutant renaissance thing, they Hickman introduced that there was like this lost tribe of mutants, like ancient mutants, who had, instead of like evolving sort of more humanoid, they diverged, and now they appear as like slugs. And yeah, there are some humans, but maybe those humans are missing like their faces, or they're missing like their skin color is completely gray like Apocalypse. Like, they established this whole other mutant society on like Mars. The problem was, this was Hickman going to Hickman, where he was like, here's their language, here's their culture, here are the many like reasons. He tried too hard to force you to consider the Arakko mutants on the same level as like the X-Men and Earth mutants, and it just felt too forced. And because his way of trying to endear them to you was basically over expositing and like detailing their long hierarchy and their long like personal history, it just, all the mutant stuff, all the Mars mutant stuff from the Krakoa era is just a drag. Honestly, the best equation I can get for it, it's one of the books in the Old Testament of the Bible. I think it's either like Deuteronomy or it's like Numbers or something. But that book where it's basically like a long list of like lineages. Like, and David begat Spencer, who begat Jacob, who begat Josh, who begat Ruler, who begat Zero. Like, that is like the entire book. That's what X-Men Red is like. It's just like this entire long, kind of unfortunate, like, it's uninteresting history of this other mutant people. It just, I get the concept, and it's a solid thing to sort of, okay, cool, it's Numbers. I knew it was one of them. Thanks, Andrew. Like, it's a solid idea, but he just, instead of really fleshing it out, Hickman just went Hickman and dumped it all at you, and then said like, that is what he told didn't show, and he told didn't show, and in a visual medium that sort of like undercuts a lot of the impact of everything. So X-Men Red itself, like, overall it was a fine book. There's not a lot, it was inoffensive, but it's just all of the like ancient Krakoa or the ancient Arakko mutant stuff, it was just so boring. Like, it was just, I anytime it came up, I just was like, Hickman, done. Like, you're going full Hickman. I can't handle this. So we have to pass on it. But yeah, that is essentially my final call on, like, that's a wrap on Krakoa. Like I said, I didn't read a lot of these other books, and what I did really, I kind of just didn't care about. Like, yeah, I read Dark Web, I read Dark X-Men. We know my thoughts on that because that's Ben's book. And then other books down here like Realm of X or X-Men Forever or Fall of X, those are all sort of in line with like Hickman's main X run. So it kind of, it's not like we really need to individually talk about them. And yeah, and then there's like odd thing, like I've heard Scarlet Witch is good. I know Andrew liked what he read of that. And then like New Mutants was kind of boring, unfortunately. Deadpool was at one of his lowest points of his entire recent runs. And yeah, for like, these are just sort of like this is what I would almost consider Krakoa filler, if you will. Whereas like the stuff up here, mainly like these 3 books, maybe like these 4 books are like the core actual story of Krakoa that you guys should like explore if you are at all interested in it. Zero asks, have you covered the Laura bullshit where she spent eons on a box and then they cloned her just for her to come back from the future? I mean, no, I didn't. Like, I don't think you were here for that part of my prelude, but I didn't want to do like a breakdown of every single event that happened because there's just so much, as you can see by these books down here. And then like something like that to me is just, that's just stupid comic book stuff. There's not a lot for me to rage or criticize as much as it is just like, of course you did this whole, oh, she's gone forever, psych, she's back. Like, it to me at this point in my comic book reading career, it's just like, of course you guys did. Why would I have expected anything different? Andrew says, Scarlet Witch #1 was solid. I'll continue with it for now. They earned some goodwill with me after the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch miniseries. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is all filler stuff. I've heard there's some good in there. A lot of the stuff I know was kind of bad, but on the whole, everything we're looking at here that I didn't really specifically talk about is just sort of filler. It's there. There might be something you like, there might be something you don't, but overall, a lot of this is just there. I think like that's genuinely the best way I can end this wrap up of Krakoa. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, that is Krakoa. We are finally done. We are in a new era. God knows what they're going to do. From what we're seeing from previews, it just seems like they're going back to, oh, everybody hates the X-Men again. And it's like, yes, we get it, but we've been here, right? To me, it's the same thing as when they keep resetting Spider-Man to being broke and a photographer at the Daily Bugle. It's a good premise, and we've all seen it. It's a good story, but we've seen it, and you're not doing anything new with it, and you're only doing it to just hit that reset button. Hey, Joy, how's it going? Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well as well. Nice to see you popping in at the very end of this stream. But yes, like I just let Joy know, I think with that last little bit, or that last run through of Krakoa, I think this has been one of our longer streams in a while. We've gone 20 minutes over our normal runtime, so I think that is probably where a really good place to call it. That is a wrap on Krakoa. Obviously, as these new X books keep coming out, we'll probably talk about them. There will probably be things to talk about, bad decisions, good decisions. That exceptional X-Men book will probably be a giant dumpster fire from what I'm seeing so far. But yeah, the future is a future for the X-Men. Let's put it that way. The future's not bright. It's not dark. There's just a future. So yeah, with that, I think we can call it a wrap tonight. And yes, Joy, I know you just woke up. I am jealous. It is Saturday already over there in the Philippines, but it's still nice to see you. It's still nice to hear from you, even if you are just waking up. But yes, before we finally get out of here, as always, I want to thank everybody for hanging out, for stopping over. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. There will be stuff and things. It's where I get most of my stuff. But yes, thank you guys for hanging out with me for tonight. As always, it's a pleasure to spend my Friday evenings with you guys, kicking your weekends off right, talking about positive things, having some laughs, conversing with you, because like you guys know, we spend the entire week, being bombarded by just bad decisions, bad creative moves, bad rhetoric from all the people who are in charge of our favorite franchises. So it does us good to take a break. A record-breaking 3 hours. No way, man. I there's like a stream. I think it's my live action Avatar stream. That thing is almost like 4 hours. That was my longest one. Unfortunately, it's like my least viewed one. But we don't do this for the views. We do this to hang out with you guys, to have fun, to kick your weekends off right. As always, guys, if you want to see more of me, you can follow me on Twitter right here at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can, I encourage you to follow Bounding Into Comics on Twitter, on Telegram, pretty much every social media platform. Give the site a follow. New stories going up every single day. Your number one source for what is actually going on with all of our hobbies, written by people who actually know what they're talking about and actually care and on your side and don't just want to replace one side of the culture war with another. So as always, check it out. If you want to see more of me live, you can catch me as always, you can catch me Wednesdays on the Bounding Into Comics 01 stream, where I will be joined by Nerdigans, Josh, Jacob, and Cider, as always, to break down the biggest pop culture news stories of any given week, and that's where you'll hear your big MCU, DCU, Star Wars, all that fun stuff. That's where it'll be covered over there. And as always, if you want more of me just solo, more of this stream, same Mav time, same Mav channel next week for another episode. Who knows what we'll be talking about? As always, the subjects are picked at random depending on what happens in the course of the week. So who knows what we'll talk about next week? Hopefully it'll be something more fun than Krakoa. With that, oh, hey, Duck, what is going on? A last-minute appearance by Duck saying no Twitch tonight. I have some things I need to take care of for work immediately after this stream. So if I can knock those out in a good amount of time, I want to play some Xenoblade Chronicles. It just really depends on if things are going to go right for me. So, in case you don't already, go over to twitch.tv/KabutoWriterMav, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know when I go live for Xenoblade. Yes, Corey, I know, I need to play Xenoblade. And as always, if you're new here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification buttons. Come on down every week. I'm happy to have you. I know that aside from everybody who shows up in the chat, like Leon and Zero and Andrew and Volume Dealer and Timon and Jacob and Shinkai and Ravul and all of you guys, I know aside from you, there are people who watch this in the replay, in the VOD. So to all of you, thank you. Oh, and of course, thank you to Joy. I don't know why I forgot to thank her, even though I was just talking to her. So I know you guys are out there. My genuine thanks go out to every single one of you for watching, for hanging out, for giving me any amount of your time. It's always a pleasure, and I'm happy to entertain. Oh, Cassie coming in at the end. Look at everybody who's coming here at the end to say what's up. Timon, I am jealous that you're playing Ayuden Chronicles. I really want to play that, but I unfortunately do have a mission, which is to play Xenoblade Chronicles. There will be no other RPGs except for Xenoblade Chronicles until that is done. Unless they announce like another Chain of Memories, and then I might have to play that. But as always, guys, with the show at an end, I of course have your last call for last minute news. This one isn't so much exciting, as I just felt it was sort of a nice appropriate stamp to sort of put here at the end of one of the X-Men's publishing eras, particularly because it involves a certain someone. Give it a look, give it a listen. I will see you in 1 second. Check it out.
Don't you? No place to hide.
Don't you agree?
Well, Wolverine, you were against Kitty being a member of the team. What do you think now?
So the kid got lucky. That don't make her an X-Man. Not yet.
Yes, the X-Men have won, but only for now. Magneto is still out there, waiting, planning, plotting the destruction of the human race. But whatever the challenge, whatever the peril, the X-Men will be there.
Yes, two things that you might have noticed from that clip. One, Wolverine absolutely was Australian. That was an Australian television production that they wanted to do before the animated series proper, and it just never got off the ground. It only made the pilot, but that is what we got. It was Canadian, so thus Canadian Wolverine. And in case you guys maybe didn't catch it exactly, because the audio quality, obviously being from forever ago, isn't the best, the narrator there, even though it's like a non-American production and it was done in Australia, that narrator was none other than Stan Lee, who was supposed to narrate all the opening and ending bits to the series. So I thought that just cool little moment, cool little bit. And I think, yeah, with that, have a great Friday, everybody. Go have a good weekend. Go play something fun. Go read something great. Go do something that's worth your time. Go take a nap if you have to. I know the week is an exhausting time for everybody. But regardless of all that, I will see you guys next week. You can catch me, on all my socials. Hopefully you can, I'll be able to find some time for some Xenoblade. But until then, have a good weekend, everyone. And I will see you later. I'm missing all the buttons on my stream deck. Let's try that again. Have a good weekend, everyone. And I will see you later.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zed.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him, like, burned and... We'll
I don't even
executed
know
and
who
all
that guy is.